All right, welcome back in the zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's hear some more clips from the New Heights podcast. Travis Kelce talking about the diving catch, the third down diving catch, their second drive that resulted in a touchdown, a big 3rd down and 5. They had already converted 2 third downs before that play and faced with another 3rd down, tied 7-7. This is the explanation from Travis on what happened on that play. Now, remember, after the game, we heard Patrick Mahomes say, of course, Travis ran the wrong route and still got the ball. Here's Travis Kelce explaining what took place.
Big 3rd down play, and Pat changed the play. In my mind, I was like, I don't know if we should change this play. And that's not how you play football.
Yeah, for those of you
have to listen to the guy. He's got the keys to the car. It's his. He's steering the ship. You got to listen to the guy. And I was just like, I don't like it. And sure enough, he's pump faking, trying to find me coming over the middle of the
Where's
field.
Where's Trav? He's going to be right here. Any second, he's going to be right there. Okay, okay, he's not showing up.
I'm over here picking my nose over there and on the numbers.
Well, you made up for it because you made a ridiculous.
Yeah, he's scrambling for his life, gets his legs chopped out from under him, and throws just something and just to get the ball out of his hands so he doesn't take a sack. At that point, I'm in my head like, I got to make a play for my guy. I'm just out here looking like an asshole, not running the right route for him in the biggest game of the year. So, but yeah, Pat, thanks for giving me a chance, baby. I love you, man.
I don't think we should change this play right here. No, I'm gonna run the same route. I know you're changing the play for other guys. I kind of feel like it's gonna work for me, and it did not. It did not work for him. And Mahomes sitting there pump faking, waiting for him to come over the middle, and he said, "I'm just over there on the numbers, just picking my nose." And eventually they found him. So thankfully they did that because it was one of the more iconic plays that we've seen in the postseason with those two guys hooking up and throwing the ball, and Patrick Mahomes getting his legs chopped out while holding the ball back like he's getting ready to throw it the whole time, and then flips it that way. And where Travis Kelce was when Patrick Mahomes flipped the ball to where Travis Kelce actually caught the ball, there's no reason for anybody to throw it there.
He had to fight through a screen, essentially. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
There's no reason for Mahomes to throw it to the spot that he did, considering where Travis Kelce was.
When Mahomes said that Kelce had run the wrong route, you could have given me 3 or 4 guesses as to what he meant by that, and at no point was conscientious objector going to make my list. I was like, oh, did he mean that he ran an option route and read it wrong? That would have been my first guess. Second guess, maybe he heard the play call wrong. Third guess, just freelance some, but not necessarily that he just disobeyed.
We're changing the play. I don't think we should. I'm going to run what I
disagree. I'll be over here.
Feeling
like a bleep hole on the numbers, picking his nose.
I'll be where I should be because this is going to work. Not sure what you're thinking over there, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Quarterback, Mr. I'm reading the defense, but I know what I'm doing too, okay? We talked about whether or not the Chiefs could flip the switch, and did they flip a switch going into the postseason? Here's Travis talking about that sort of question and whether that is something that can happen for a team going into the postseason from how they played throughout the regular season.
I think there's just that flip of the switch that you kind of turn on in December.
Yeah. Sense of urgency.
You know, you want to try and have that switch for the entire year, but it's a 17-game season, man. Sometimes it's just, I mean, it's hard, man. It's hard, especially after 11 years, getting excited for a random game in November where you know you're about to wax this team. It's hard to get it going every single week. And this year it was harder than ever because we weren't winning those games. We were trying to find ways to win, and we were kicking ourselves in the foot. And we're finally getting the juices going. We're finally playing our best ball at the right time. And how can you not get excited about that? You know, how can you not wake up every single day knowing that you got a chance to go and get this thing, man?
It's electric.
It's the best feeling in the world, man. There's nothing better than January and February football, baby. And we're in the thick of it, man.
Who's the random team in November that they were about to wax?
They lost to the Broncos on October 29th.
I'm looking at the schedule, too.
It's not quite November, but that was what it made me think of.
They played 3 November games because they had the bye week. They played Miami, Philadelphia, and then in Vegas. And
it definitely wasn't Miami or Philadelphia.
No.
And they kind of waxed Vegas.
Even though they started out slow, they were down 14-0, could have been down 17-0.
That's true. Wax is not fair.
Yeah, but they did wax after that because it was 31-3.
It was slow start. Hey, guys, what the bleep is going on? We should be waxing this team, and then they did.
And I'm not sure what the origin of waxing would be, but when you light the candle, it does take a while for that wax to melt.
That's a great point.
So maybe that was the slow sort of, they were going to wax that team. Or is it like waxing a car? Is it wax on, wax off? Is it waxing just blocking like Mr. Miyagi?
Is it hair removal?
Danielson?
I don't know. I'm going to look into it.
Yep, thank you.
I'm going to find the origins of the idiom.
Appreciate it. Need the origin of waxing. So that's what happened. And flipping the switch, because in Tampa, we talked to Mark Schlereth, Stink, and the conversation centered around back-to-back wins or back-to-back Super Bowls because they had won the year before. And Schlereth was on those Broncos teams that won back-to-back. And he said the second year, 98, they fought boredom throughout the year. They had to fight, and there were games where they felt like they were just going through the motions, but they were so good that they can go make plays when they needed to and win. Because that was the year when Mahomes said, well, I guess we're not winning by enough, so I guess that's a stat, because they went 14-2. And 14-1 when they had their starters out there. They lost 2 games all year with their starters. One was the last game of the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But he talked about being bored and having to fight against that. And I think that's a little bit of what, not even a little bit, I think that's exactly what Travis Kelce's talking about here is, get up and be excited to play a random team in November that you know you're about to bleeping wax. And, now it's, okay, this is it. This is what you've been working for all offseason and all year is for these moments. These are the moments for the Chiefs that they have been working for. And it didn't matter if they had the 1 or 2 seed. In the end, it didn't matter. It mattered how they played when it came time of a do or die, win or go home scenario. And for both of those games, whether they won or lost, they were getting to go home. And they did that, and they go on the road and win. I didn't think flipping a switch was possible, but I guess deferring to the Chiefs and been there, done that, and this group of players that so many on this team were on that team last year that won, that maybe there is that element of they were kind of just going through the motions. They kept shooting themselves in the foot. They weren't focused. They're just a tick off, just a hair off, just very close. And then it was like, now we're laser locked in. Now we're focused. No drop passes. Nothing like that. No dumb penalties. Phantom penalties, but no dumb penalties, and no turnovers. There was 2 turnovers, one in the Miami game and one in Buffalo, but we talked about those. The Miami game didn't affect them at all. They were running out the clock with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They were up 26-7. Didn't matter. You don't want that to happen, but it didn't matter. McCole Hardman almost changed the whole complexion of that game and took it from being a blowout, but they still ended up winning the game. That turnover did not hurt them. It wasn't an early turnover, a pick six, or, took points off the board when you were trailing by, a couple possessions or something, like the 2 turnovers late in the game for the Ravens. Diving for the end zone, you're down by 10. Throw an interception in the end zone, you're down by 10. That's 14 points! Thank goodness the Chiefs did what they did and caused those turnovers and stepped up in big moments.
Did you realize how many snaps Deion Bush played, by the way?
5.
3. He played, so Charles Omenihu played, I believe, 6 snaps and forced 1 turnover, and Deion Bush played 3 snaps and forced 1 turnover. So pretty efficient days for them. Obviously, Omenihu cut short with the injury, which is really unfortunate.
The very next play, though, by the way.
I was shocked that he played 6 snaps. I feel like I saw him make 6 plays before he got hurt.
Right.
And it was probably pretty close to that.
The very next snap, damn it.
But to what Kelsey said there in that clip, as I was listening through today, that was one of the ones that I was just like, I think that was a little bit later on from some of the ones we'd already played. So I already had like several things marked that I was like, all right, this is good stuff. We'll definitely play the Justin Tucker thing and all of that. I heard that when I was like, oh, well, they don't ever say that in week 11. You know what I mean? November, they never say, oh, we're just kind of cruising right now because we got to make sure we're ramped up by playoff time. So not that even that is surprising, but him saying it out loud when you can look back on those, waxing and wanings of the season. I'm really trying to find it. Where a lot of idioms that involve the word wax. None of them particularly helpful right now.
Great.
But being able to look back in retrospect at that time and say, yeah, that's just kind of something that happens. It is, he acknowledges, harder to get amped in year 11 about week 11 than it is to get ready for a postseason game where, like you mentioned, they are winner-go-home games. There is no feeling of like, all right, let's go ahead and let's everybody lay off here. We'll figure it out over the week and we'll get back to it on Monday. Nope, Monday doesn't come if you don't win this game. And it seems like pushing that for an older player like Kelsey and a team that has been playing long seasons. Even the rookies now have been playing long seasons, or second-year guys, long seasons after the pre-draft process, which is a season in and of itself. It makes sense. We talked about it some at the time. It makes sense that this is not as important as what the Chiefs are going to be doing in January. The question is, can you actually find that switch to flip? And this team was able to.
Because last year was a motivation of no Tyreek Hill. Oh, okay. Okay, great. We'll show you. You had an MVP season, you had the number 1 seed, and you won the Super Bowl. Okay, yeah, we'll show you. This year, you're the Super Bowl champions. You already proved it. Mm-hmm. You already proved you didn't need Tyreek Hill. Okay. And then you kind of just get caught up in going through the motions and probably some being tired that you've played now a full season more of football in 6 seasons. The Chiefs have played 7 seasons worth of football in 6 seasons because of these 17 postseason games they have played. So Patrick Mahomes has in fact now played 7 years of football, even though he's only started 6. So he finally got that rookie season back. So now we know, just add the postseason numbers to his regular season numbers, and then you would say in a player's first 7 seasons in the NFL, this is what he would look like. Now look at all the other first 7 seasons in the NFL, and this is what that particular person did. He'd probably hold every single record there was for the quarterback's first 7 years. Here's Travis Kelce talking about the AFC Championship game and what's different with the offense now.
Doggone. Pretty damn good game. Obviously, we wish we would have scored more in the second half, but went in there with the right mentality, executed early, and put their offense and really their team with their backs against the walls. And, man, you got to love Spags in this defense right now, baby. Doggone, it's electric playing with them, man. They're giving us chances to stay in games and win games and kind of manage things offensively, and Pat Mahomes is playing the game like the best quarterback in the league, baby. We're not hurting ourselves right now, and that's the best part. Where there's some flags here and there, but
you're having good drives.
The mistakes, like the drops, are kind of limited. The fumble, the turnovers, all those things. The game changers, the game wreckers. Certain things that you do to yourself that you just can't win doing. We started to clean that up a lot, and that goes to the head man, baby. You don't clean those things up without good discipline. You don't clean those things up without having good leadership, and that's the coaching staff right there, making sure and harping on the right things and really motivating us in the right direction week in, week out. And we never lost faith, not one time during the year. And right now we're playing our best ball, baby.
Doggone. Boy, Andy Reid. He's been around Andy Reid a while. I mean, doggone. We're going to enjoy this son of a buck. Woo, dog.
Some of those.
Doggone it, Herbie.
Some of those clips that I bleeped, Kelsey didn't say buck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't what.
Did you see the email to Mike Freeman from Karen?
Yes. Yes.
Did you see the email to Mike Freeman from Karen, Dylan? In case people didn't see this, Karen emailed Mike Freeman, subject, mother asking for linguistic help. What does waxing mean? No, that's not what she said. She writes to Mike Freeman, please print this. It is straightforward and comes from every mother of every kid in America.
Incredible to get everybody on the same page.
Yep.
They all signed it.
Yes, that's right. It was a big Zoom that they had. Dear Travis Kelce, this is an email to Mike Freeman. Dear Travis Kelce, congratulations on your current status. You are a superhero. She's looking for linguistic help. She said you are a superhero to most every child in America. It did not come easily, yet here you are. But with this iconic status comes responsibilities of which you seem to ignore. Your language. Your use of _UCK.
A crazy way of censoring that, by the way.
Parentheses, my own commentary. I've never seen somebody censor the F word by underscoring the F, leaving it out, but including UCK.
It's crazy.
_uck.
It's crazy.
For the F word,
we don't even know it's in it. We know it's the. It's the
could be your use of luck in every sentence is just plain wrong. There is no luck. There is no try. There is only do. The your use of, so we'll just say uck when she has.
I don't want you to do that, Jason. It's made me uncomfortable the number of times you said it, so it's giving me the ick.
Your use of uck in every sentence is just plain wrong.
Lebo, I don't support this.
I am quite sure your parents did not allow you and your brother to use that word growing up.
Citation needed.
It is distracting to what you were trying to say. It is offensive to most and greatly downplays your intelligence. America's youth want to emulate you. To allow them to think using curse words and uck is cool, comma, 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 comma. Well, it is not. Shame on you. Someday you may be a father. Would you want your children to hear their hero talk like you do?
Yes.
For all parents, please show how a supper star can also be an articulate gentleman. Oh, she said supper.
She wrote supper.
Please show how a supper star can also be an articulate gentleman. Signed, every parent.
Again, incredible to get the. I mean, Jason, you're a parent.
Yeah, we talked. We all got, every parent got together. The every parent group. You can opt in. And I'm a member of the Every Parent group by being a parent.
Yeah.
And she is speaking for me. These are all the words that I've been wanting to say. I've been trying to tell Travis Kelce, you are a hero.
Yes.
And I've been trying to let him know how a supper star acts.
A true supper star.
Yeah. Please show how a supper star can also be an articulate gentleman. I am a supper star. While I kind of feel like I'm an articulate gentleman, the articulate part, maybe? Excuse me, the gentleman part? Excuse me, supper star. Definitely that.
A parent, at least.
I am a parent. That much is apparent.
Wouldn't you hate it if your kids grew up to be like Travis Kelce?
I would be so disappointed in him by using a curse word.
Yeah, that would probably be the thing I couldn't get over.
I can't believe you're bleeping dating Taylor Swift.
And also, like, as the concerned parent so clearly summarizes the contentious relationship that he must have with his parents.
Oh, yeah.
It's clear that Kelce family is so deeply fractured.
I'm telling you this.
Donna is so ashamed of him.
I'm speaking for every parent here. Jason Kelce, put your damn shirt on, okay?
Thank you!
You are a superhero to so many in Philadelphia and across the world.
Superhero.
To most every, well, he might be the superhero.
He is a superhero.
Sure. He might be I can be your superhero.
That should be something. Jason, figure it out.
I can take away your food.
Have you seen Patrick Mahomes in the locker room from the CW cameras that the picture's going around?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, Mahomes is tweeting about it right now, actually.
Oh, really? Is he having supper?
No, but
is he having dinner?
No. Come on, Twitter. No,
Is it
don't
brunch?
don't do it to me now, Twitter. Oh, Twitter's doing it to me. I'll show you in a second.
Oh.
We're gonna get there. It's the post-game locker room festivities, and as Patrick Mahomes has tweeted about the photo, yo, why'd they have to do me like that? Hashtag dad bod season.
Oh, no.
I've got kids.
Oh, no. Does it show him with a little bit of a gut?
I'll let you be the judge of that.
Bobby, what are you doing, Bobby Shrimp? Come on, Bobby.
This is pliability right here. This is flexibility and sort of the abdomen level.
That's fine. That's fine. You know what? Most dads would love to have a body like Patrick Mahomes.
This would be an achievement for almost all of us.
That would take me 2 years to
get to that
level of gut. To that level of gut. I'm not talking about the shoulders and the arms or anything like. No, that's not going to take me just 2 years to get there. But to get to the level of the gut, it's a couple of years worth of changing my dietary habits and working with Bobby.
But as the best summary I've seen on Twitter is Chandler on Twitter just posted, Brady injected deer piss directly into his vein, and Mahomes is the greatest player we've ever seen purely running on Coors Light. And that makes me very happy.
Dad bod season in full effect, man. That is great. I mean, the man's 27 years old. I mean, you start that testosterone slows down, man.
I have to imagine it's going to come back and bite him in the Super Bowl. Bang.
All right, hanging out here on this Wednesday edition. We'll talk with Cynthia Freeland coming up at 11 o'clock.
Our superstar.
Yeah, that's right. And Kendall Gammon, we'll talk with him coming up at noon as well. Another superstar. And Mick Schaefer, dessert star. KSHB 41 sports
star.
Director. That's right. As long as the supper is seafood, he is starring in that role. A lot of clips that I still want to play. We'll do it after Cynthia Freeland because there are no Chiefs press conferences today. But Andy Reid, want to get into some of those clips from the Let's Go podcast that came out yesterday or Monday. I saw that floating around.
They got to get better marketing because I didn't know this happened until I saw the clips you had loaded. I spent all morning listening and cutting new heights. I was like, oh, when was Andy Reid on Tom Brady's podcast? That would be interesting to hear.
Saw it last night. And so Jim Gray and Tom Brady. And so cut up a few clips from that. There are some certainly some interesting things, especially when you get Andy Reid sitting down with guys that he's comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not in a press conference setting, not in a short form setting. But in a long form, here's, 20 minutes of just Jim Gray, Tom Brady, and Andy Reid talking. Yeah. So we'll play some of those things, including going to Vegas, playing on the road in the postseason, what happened after Christmas Day, trying to win back-to-back Super Bowls. Can he enjoy the moment right now, or is it just business? And the sort of natural leadership instincts of Patrick Mahomes that Tom Brady talks about of just feels like Mahomes is always doing the right thing. Just feels like, he's saying the right thing. He's doing the right thing. And, Andy's like, well, Tom, you would know.
Yep.
You would know about those things. Like it's just something that's just sort of natural with people. So we hear some of those things. And then still Travis Kelce to weigh in on that touchdown catch that he had with Kyle Hamilton. The first touchdown Kyle Hamilton has given up this year came in the game, the first drive against Travis Kelce. You see the viewership numbers? NFL on CBS delivered the most watched AFC Championship game ever. The week after the most watched divisional round game ever. Sunday's game peaked with more than 64 million viewers. And NFL on CBS led all networking during postseason, averaging 46 million viewers. CBS Sports' best postseason since the NFL returned to CBS in 1998. Back-to-back weeks, the Chiefs, in a game, broke the record for the most watched round of the game.
Well,
of the postseason.
Imagine how good the ratings would have been if the 6 most annoying guys were watching. They were all boycotted, of course, for reasons that are still unclear.
Imagine if Taylor Swift wasn't there.
Oh, my goodness.
And Kelce didn't get the shot. Like that, maybe 64.1 million?
At least.
Oof.
She's done the research.
I measured the big boys' booties for like 2 years.
She's analyzed the data.
If you can keep that big booty down, like if you are a big boy, if you're very tall and you can keep your booty down low, then you are far more successful.
She's crunched the numbers and the results are clear.
The back of booty isn't as good, as it turns out.
If she picks a dog, she'll have the math to back it up.
It's not like Travis Kelce has done. My dog is very excited about this, just so you know.
It's Cynthia Freeland of NFL Network. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, time to talk with our NFL Network analytics expert, Cynthia Freeland, joining us here in the zone on this Wednesday edition. Cynthia, welcome into the show. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I am doing just fine. I started the show previewing our conversation, and I said I'm worried that it might be awkward because there's so much euphoria around here, and I know there's always that survivor's guilt that goes along with it of, the euphoria around here. It's not like the Chiefs were playing your team, but watching that, we were a half away from having just a dream matchup with Chiefs and Lions. It did not happen. So I was so happy on Sunday for my team, and I was very heartbroken watching the second half, thinking of you and the Lions fans out there.
Well, I really appreciate that. But the good news is that at least we still have our OC. Ben Johnson informed the team he's not leaving. And it was more like, obviously it was a heartbreaking loss, but it was more of a better season overall than it was that loss being some sort of like black check mark, right? 2 home playoff wins, something that hadn't happened in over 32 years. Like that's very, very cool. So at the end of the day, more grateful than sad, but definitely Sunday sucked.
Yeah.
For the Lions fans.
I don't know if it's the same because the Chiefs have had a Super Bowl before, but 2018, when it was the first run of Patrick Mahomes, and it was like, oh my God, this is different. This is awesome. This is so much fun. They've got a chance to actually do this. And then Dee Ford is offsides, and it's a crushing loss in overtime. And it's like, it was right there. Like I celebrated. Like the game was over. I celebrated. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl in my lifetime. I can't believe this. And then the official stepped up and threw a flag that was the correct call. And I'll be damned if they throw a flag that's a correct call on the Chiefs, darn it. Not anymore. And now the script has flipped that thing. But I had some of the same sort of flashbacks. And I'm hoping for Lions fans that it is the start of something with what's going on in Detroit. Because as time passed, I was able to appreciate that 2018 season and the win over the Colts and breaking the streak of not winning an Arrowhead for 20 years and that appreciation. But, man, it sucked for a while after that game was over.
Yeah. I mean, look, it hurts. I hated that one, too, because I, fell in love with Patrick Mahomes. And I was, I remember one of my first, the first weeks when we had to make our Super Bowl predictions, I think mine was Chiefs and Saints that year. And my producer was literally like, you can't go on TV and say the Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl. And I was like, the heck I can't.
Watch me.
I did it anyway. And Patrick came to me after, and he's like, you rode with us the whole year. I know that. I watched you on TV. I was like, thank you.
That's pretty awesome. That's really cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I rode with him the whole season. Never said anything to me. I've yet to hear. I mean, except for the Ravens game this last weekend that I picked the Ravens. It's been reminded, and I've been told that a lot since the Chiefs won that game. But yes, I did pick the Ravens. But you know what? Let's start with the Chiefs, and then we'll get into some of the Lions stuff, because I think there are some great analytical conversations that can come from that Lions game and, bigger picture stuff and things like that. But the Chiefs get the win against the Ravens. I picked the Ravens to win 26-24 on a field goal late and with a 51% confidence. It was like 26-24 and 51-49 Ravens, but could be Chiefs. Perfect. But I still, picked the Ravens, whatever. I'm just trying to help the Chiefs. They've been doubted, and I grabbed an oar, and I was rowing along with everybody else to help them get there. That's all. As you watch this game and analyze it, how did they keep the Ravens to just 10 points scored in that game, in the biggest game of the season for them, when you had to think that they were going to throw the kitchen sink out there offensively against this Chiefs defense?
Well, to begin with, the game plan was the beginning of the game, the scripted portion of the game, on both offense and defense, the Chiefs just had a beat on everything the Ravens wanted to do on both sides of the ball. The weird part was that you didn't see the Ravens adjust to do the things we've seen the Ravens do, like, run the football, and not in, short yardage situations, like third and very, very short. So that was kind of strange, but I think that a lot of the different ways that you saw Drew Tranquill just really, have an extra, it's like he studied the exact right film, and he knew exactly what was, he was living rent-free in Lamar Jackson's head to begin the game. And that was really what set the tone, because we hadn't really seen the Ravens play from behind much this season. And when their scripted part of the game doesn't work and Lamar Jackson isn't looking Lamar Jackson-y, yes, I know that the first drive he looked pretty good to Zay Flowers, but after that, it was like, oh, okay, I get this now. I know what he's going to call, and I make this stupid analogy, but I saw Drew Tranquill win the chess.com last year, and I saw him win it again, last week.
I love that. That's a phenomenal way to look at it. And, the running the ball thing, I think is fascinating because, the Chiefs were up 10 points at half. And they got the ball to come out in the third quarter, and they went 3 and out. And you're like, oh, all right, defense, let's see what you can do. And the Baltimore Ravens handed off to Gus Edwards on the left side. Yeah. And Justin Reed came up and looked like he was getting ready to take on a tackle that never got there. And then he just took on Gus Edwards and finished the play. And that was a 1st down and 10. That was the last time the Ravens handed off on 1st down.
Yeah.
That was 13 and a half minutes to go in the third quarter. And they didn't hand off on 1st down the rest of the game. I know that we talk about, game script, situational, things like that. They got the ball. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They had 10 different 1st downs until they got to 9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. They had 10 more 1st downs. Down by 10 points, 10 more 1st downs. Was it that Todd Monken just saw what the Chiefs were doing and decided that he was going to adjust to the Chiefs, that Spags actually was playing the Drew Tranquill, the Justin Reed, the chess game, and Spags, one of the lines that he used a couple of years ago that I loved is, having the chalk last, that he had the chalk last because he made them adjust to what he was doing and he put them in situations that were advantageous to the Chiefs. Is that why, or was there the experience and the Chiefs sort of just going game script and playing what was working to a degree and not making mistakes, and the Ravens sort of panicking and wanting to get 10 points back on every drive?
Yeah, it felt like the Ravens were trying to get it all back at once. Like they were, I think that maybe, and I'm not close with Todd Monken at all, but it seems like he certainly overthought some things, right? Like the play calls were not necessarily what you would imagine, and it's not like he didn't know Spags was going to blitz him. I mean, the Chiefs blitzed at the 4th highest rate all season long. So, especially on 3rd down. 3rd down, Lamar Jackson against the blitz had the 3rd lowest completion percentage in the regular season. So he knew that. We knew that. Everybody knew that. Spags knew that. And yet they could not, on 3rd down, the blitz just absolutely crushed their souls. That was one of the major keys to this game. And by the way, one of the ways to stop that would be to run the football, and especially get in more manageable situations. Nope, didn't. I don't know. I don't have a great answer for it, but that's what we saw. I don't know why they didn't, because usually they're very good at adjusting. So I don't know. It was very strange. The beginning was advantage Chiefs, and then Chiefs just held on, and even though they made slight adjustments better, they could not get that offense to work.
One of the things that I felt like is a common misnomer around quarterbacks, and it's one of the things that I keyed on Friday, and still picked the Ravens, but keyed on Friday was that Patrick Mahomes in his career has been one of the top, if not the top, if I went back the last 6 years and looked at all quarterbacks, one of the top quarterbacks in pressure to sack percentage, in limiting sacks, in how many pressures he has. He's just brilliant at doing that. He was number 2 this year behind Josh Allen. And I think last year he was number 2, but he's been in the top 1 or 2 or 3 every year of his career. He's just brilliant at being able to do that. And Lamar Jackson, you would think, would be a guy that would make guys miss and pressures would not turn into sacks, but he's middle of the pack. He's just sort of there. Like the names around him that we were talking about on Friday in the show, was Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo and, players like, we're like, that doesn't seem right. And so my point was the Chiefs can pressure him as long as they don't get out of their lanes. They can also sack him when they've got opportunities. He got away a couple times. Drew Tranquil, went over him because Lamar Jackson's good at ducking through. And Leo Chanel went over him. Lamar Jackson ducked through and then found Zay Flowers. But the Chiefs hit Lamar Jackson a number of times, hit him 7 times, and sacked him 4 times. And never, Cynthia, did it feel like they were just sprinting up the field to get him like it was a statue or going after Tua. It was just it was a great plan, but you got to have the players that execute the plan. And it's one of those check your egos at the door, because you 5 guys that are going to be pass rushing, you're a unit. You're not one guy trying to get there and beat your guy and swim and get out of your lane because you think you can get there quicker because now you just gave up a 15 or 20-yard run to Lamar.
Yeah. The interesting part is that the one thing, Lamar's sort of, the knock on Lamar that I think from this season was that he didn't have a good beat on how, like we saw, and you can't tell me that his tackles were 100%. We saw them kind of rotating in and out. We saw a whole bunch of these were weird things, and it didn't feel like he had a good beat on when someone was getting beat up. He didn't have a good beat on when, maybe his guard was getting beat by, Chris Jones or whoever, right? George Karlaftis, et cetera. He didn't have a good beat on where the pressure was going to come from. And in many games, you see him sort of have the sixth sense to be able to bounce out of the way, to get out of the way there. But he did not, in the games this year where they've looked confused, against the Browns, et cetera, it's like that he didn't have a beat on where the vulnerable points in his O-line were.
There was a stat that I saw, and I can't remember. I think it might have been from your Twitter account, and it was about the intermediate passes for the Baltimore Ravens. Mm-hmm. And here it is. You actually retweeted it, and it said Lamar didn't target the intermediate level of the field in the first half, 10 to 19 air yards, and he was second in the NFL this year, completing 66% of passes with 11 touchdowns and no interceptions when targeting the intermediate parts of the field.
Yep.
So the Chiefs got him to third down, blitzed against third down, which was a weakness, and took away the intermediate part of the field. I feel like Spags was playing some chess out there, and he was
on his bag.
Exactly.
He was on one.
Spags was in his bag in the game there. He was. And that to me is like, how do the. And again, you talked about, not being in the mind or knowing Todd Monken, but it just feels like it's odd to where would the adjustment come in that particular game, in that moment, or was Spags and the players just simply that good? Because sometimes players go out there and execute, and if the players are covering guys in the intermediate part of the field, they might have adjusted, but Lamar can't throw to a covered guy just because it's in the intermediate part of the field.
Yeah, you saw, I think also the other thing that was sort of we didn't know what to expect from the return of Mark Andrews, right?
Oh, yeah,
because, I just because you're back, we talked about it doesn't mean you're normal 100% yourself, right? It's you're back and you're there, and perhaps you're a decoy, or perhaps you're not asked to block as much as normal. We don't really know what to expect, but I think part of that was this intermediate thing's going to be a problem because now we've got Isaiah Likely who's evolved past this. Plus we've got Zay Flowers who kind of lines up all over the formation and he's good at ad-libbing. Plus we've got Mark Andrews. Yikes. That's where you thought that intermediate was going to be potentially an advantage, whereas it ended up that either he wasn't okay or I don't know all of the intricacies of it. We're, again, not in their locker room, but clearly that he wasn't able to be used in the way that we've seen him be used in when he's fully healthy at other points of the season.
Visiting with Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. Travis Kelce was brilliant in this game. I've continued to call it, and I'm just going to keep calling it. I think it's the best game of his career. that he played. I mean, 11 targets, 11 receptions, 116 yards, a touchdown against that defense in that moment at that level with everything on the line, with the offense that had been struggling and coming through on, that 4th down and 2 catch, the touchdown catch, the 3rd down and 5 diving catch, just the general, other 8 catches he had during the game. It was
just those.
Yeah, it was vintage Travis Kelce when the Chiefs needed a vintage Travis Kelce.
Yeah. The other thing that was kind of cool was I talked about at least, how we've seen Travis Kelce line up at 7 different pre-snap alignments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this game, it was 2. He was either tight or in the slot. And he was mostly in the slot, but you saw when he was tight and then there was no receiver to his right, that was that first touchdown. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, well, clearly they that's respect for Andy Reid right there. Not just respect for Travis Kelce, but also for Andy Reid in being okay, we're just going to go back to kind of the basics here and beat you with that. But obviously the defense is oh crap, how are we going to, it was, to me, it was weird that they really only asked Kyle Hamilton to, on most plays to have the Travis Kelce duty. It was Kyle Hamilton and one deep safety. You're you think that's going to work? Okay. And Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes saw it, and they're yeah, no, that's not going to work, and have fun chasing us.
Visiting with Cynthia Frelund, an NFL Network analytics expert. Travis Kelce talked about in his podcast that the Chiefs were able to flip a switch in the postseason, which I find to be fascinating and believable all at the same time. Because as he said, you're in a random game in November that you're about to wax some team, and you're okay, this is going to be an easier game versus okay, now it's the postseason, now it's go time, now they got to go out there and play. But even with that, even with the, okay, you're taking your game up to the next level, what to me was part of the impressive play of the Chiefs on Sunday was that, while the offense was not doing in the second half what they did in the first half, this season has evolved into they're more of a defensive team, and you got to play more complementary football. And Patrick Mahomes doesn't need to be Superman Patrick Mahomes and throw into crazy tight windows or try to scramble and run around and do some crazy things when you felt like the game and the game script was going your way. And in the second half, the Chiefs didn't score, but they didn't have to score. They also didn't turn the ball over and set up a short field for the Ravens. They didn't make any dumb mistakes. They didn't have any drop passes that cost them, big plays or anything like that. And to me, while maybe flipping a switch is part of it, but maybe also a little bit more of understanding that, this is a defensive team and playing playing field position in the game is not that scary of a thing. It's not like you are just surrendering that, okay, we can't get the job done. It's how do we win the game? And I think Patrick Mahomes 4 years ago, I'm not sure if he plays the same way in the second half. I don't know if he takes more chances or gets frustrated the offense isn't picking up yards and points and doing some of those things. If he takes a sack on second down in the second to last possession of the game to keep the clock moving, or running around and ends up throwing it away because he wanted to try to make a bigger play. That evolution, that maturity for Patrick Mahomes is also a big part of how they've played and what they looked like, along with maybe flipping a switch. I don't know.
Well, the other thing is on the other side, it was as if Lamar Jackson's immaturity in this situation, or I'm not going to say immaturity, but lack of experience in this situation, because, again, this season, they weren't really down much. I mean, the games they lost, but they didn't play from behind very often, nor did they play with a really narrow lead. They were either, waxing someone or, trying to do this come back, and it was the regular season, so it didn't have the consequences that it had now. But that muscle memory is a real thing, right? This is that muscle memory of, trying to take those, having a feel for the clock and a feel for, what needs to happen and where your O-line is. That doesn't, we talk about, he's a professional. He's going to still win the MVP. The voting was already over before that game, right? But this is a situation where it's okay, well, that's why we talk about taking the Chiefs in the postseason. That's part of it.
Yeah.
It's like Tom Brady back in the day. Same thing.
Yeah. Cynthia Frelund is our guest, NFL Network analytics expert. We'll look at the Chiefs and 49ers next week with you as we lead into the Super Bowl. But I said I wanted to start with the Chiefs and then get into some of the things that took place in the Lions game. The fourth down attempts You and your background and your love of the Lions, while also the analytics part. Where do you come down in the conversation of what took place in that game and the coaching, the decisions by Dan Campbell that has been a much hotly debated and discussed topic after that game on Sunday night?
A lot of people yelling into space about that one.
There's some clouds that people are mad at.
Dear goodness, like that was a lot. I was like, all right, first of all, there's a couple of things at play here. So you got to always take context into consideration. Nobody went into that game being like, you know what, the Lions are the better team, or this is pretty evenly matched, or even they've been here before, they've got experience, so that's going to carry them to the postseason. This was a team that was going in as an underdog with an underdog strategy and mentality. It's a team that had gone for it on fourth down all season long, which means they have a playbook that's not just 5 or 6 plays in fourth down situations. It's like 15 plays, 30 plays, a lot more than perhaps other teams. The other thing is that they know who they are. No one on that team is like, you know what, we have a world-beating defense. We are a defensive-minded team. This is a team that's given up in the regular season. They gave up the most 16-plus air yard attempts, passing attempts, right? So deep, and they're the only team to give up more than 100. They gave up 103. It's ridiculous. So part of it was this mentality of, I trust my offense more than I trust my defense. Not that Dan Campbell would tell us that, right? And that's the identity that he chose. So while the math would say, hey, perhaps in this situation, take the points, or perhaps don't run the football here, or perhaps don't pass the football here, I understand at least why the decision was made. It didn't seem like a thing where the moment got too big for Dan Campbell and he just was like, ah. And, you know, we've seen other coaches do that. They no longer work for the Chargers, for example. So we've seen it, you know, we've seen that happen before. But it didn't seem like it seemed like that was his decision, not an emotional response to the situation. I'm sure he would want a few of those plays back in terms of especially clock management-wise. That's where I think a bigger improvement could come. It's less about going for it on fourth down because I don't even think, like, to me, that's not a analytics call. That was an identity call. But the plays that were then called need to match the identity that they're trying to achieve. That's where I come down on it, which is like, and again, that's very unbiased. That's not, you know, that's not because I like the Lions, whatever. It's like that's, I would say that for a team that I didn't like. You know, it's not personal.
Well, and you know, there is some credit to San Francisco. There was a breakdown of that particular play. Then it was, I can't remember who they brought in motion. The Lions brought somebody in motion, and the 49ers, whoever was on him, stayed with him. So it's like, okay, this is zone, or this is a man-to-man, stayed with them, and at the snap, they dropped back into a zone. And they said, you know, when Jared Goff looked, he was looking like, oh, wait, this is man. Oh, wait, now it's not. And now the pocket's coming down on you. You go to your left, and you throw it. And, you know, maybe a half second more, he could have set his feet a little bit better and hit Josh Reynolds, but also catch the ball. You know, you should catch the ball. The play that I didn't like that Dan Campbell called was the Jahmyr Gibbs fumble play. I'm not sure that a coach should call the fumble play. That's dumb. And the third down, the 3rd down and 9, Josh Reynolds dropped the ball play. That was a dumb call. Those were back-to-back possessions when Dan Campbell called those plays. Those were stupid. He probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Right.
And also you know, hey, have the ball bounce off your face mask play.
That's right.
Yeah, those are stupid calls.
You catch a ball that went off your helmet.
Yeah.
Let's see if we could even do that again if we tried.
Yeah, these are really dumb calls. And part of it is like, okay, so you understand that the 49ers are not just going to lay down. The 49ers are going to go out and score. So if the 49ers are going to score, we got to keep our foot on the gas pedal and go. And I loved what Greg Olson tweeted out yesterday and said, you know, the biggest criticism used against the, quote, analytics is that it doesn't take into account the team or situation. And he said, okay, Michael Badgley, career 48-plus yards is 45%. And he goes, why doesn't the take the points crowd include that piece of information? Early in the game, San Francisco elected to attempt a field goal on 4th down and take the points, and Moody missed. But we don't talk. I say it all the time. You don't get to press the take the points button. You don't get to. The guy still has to go out there and kick it. That's not the easiest thing to do in any general situation. That if you could in baseball, you can just put 4 fingers up in the air and say we're going to walk them, intentional walk. We don't have to throw the ball anymore, and you can't do that in the NFL. And I think that's part of it. Like, okay, I got a kicker that's 45% from this range, or my offense 4th down and 2 when I've put 24 points on the board already. I think that's better than 45%. So
that's right.
I'm going to go ahead and play the game here and keep my foot on the gas pedal, and it didn't work out. The bigger issue I would have was the run on 3rd down at the end of the game that cost you a timeout. That was a little bit of a panicky, like, well, we have to get the touchdown no matter what now. That's the only thing that matters instead of, no, the clock is still your enemy. The points are not your enemy right now. The clock is your enemy.
Right. The other thing that, on the Michael Badgley point before we move on from that, is he also hadn't been on the team the entire year, which that to Dan Campbell is like there are some narratives that are true, right? Like we're going to, like you're going to grind and grit and this is going to be like your thing. Like they trust, remember last game against the Bucks, Craig Reynolds ran in a touchdown. So if you're a guy who grinds on our team, like, the longer you're there, the more you get, right? Like the more kind of plays in the playbook with your name on it. It's not to say that the kicker isn't important or whatever, because the kicker is, but he's always going to try to put it in the people who've been there grinding the longest. It's just one of his things. It's like how Andy Reid, whenever somebody fumbles, then the next play is going to try to like get that the stink off of it. Yeah,
he'll throw it. We joke about it all the time. Somebody fumbles, like, well, first play, I'm going to go ahead and put money on that guy touching the ball because they're going to fight. If it was a running back that fumbled, well, the first play of that next, I'm going to go ahead and bet on a running play being the first play, or a passing play if it was some sort of a wide receiver or skill position player.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
But that's the same thing for Dan Campbell, right? Except his kind of the internal dialogue is, you're on this team long, you grind long, you earn it, and it's, again, not to say Badgley hadn't, but he wasn't an original member of this team at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. And look, I think that Dan Campbell made a mistake against the Bucks last week when it was tied 10-10, and he went for it on 4th and goal. And they should have just taken the points. Oh, wait, he scored a touchdown. It was a great call. Sorry about that. They actually scored a touchdown there and went up by 7 instead of going up by 3.
Trust me, I had to turn the TV off this week. It's so ridiculous. And also, like, I don't understand who they are talking about when anyone says the analytics say, because that, first of all, it makes no sense. Like, you can be looking at a model that's 8 years or a model that's 15 years. They're going to say different things. So it's your ability to look at the information and understand what it says that actually is the analytics. So, like, you can't just say, hey, there's like some man standing behind like a curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, like telling us like that. No, it just makes it seem so strange. And they start yelling, and I'm like, oh no, this isn't for me. I just think of a robot every time. Like, you should go for it here. You should go for it. Don't take the points. Go for it. It's 4th and 15. I say go for it. Because the analytics always say to go for it. They say no. Sometimes there are plenty of times. No, they actually don't. Yeah. On 4th and 1. With 1 second to go in a tie game at the 5-yard line, the analytics say kick the field goal. So it doesn't say go for it. Oh, it's 4th and 1, you should go for it. Well, no, you shouldn't go for it in that situation. It's just it's not smart to go for it there. I know. So yeah, I just that conversation has just taken over everything. And you know what? And last point on this, Larry Fitzgerald. They were talking in the morning before the games, and it's great that they had talked about this because it ended up coming up later that night. But Larry Fitzgerald was talking about when they got to the championship game, conference championship game. Did they get there one time? Yeah, early in his career they got there, and he thought this is going to happen forever. And it wasn't for a while before he got there again and then got to the Super Bowl. And he was like, and in that conference championship game, he was like, we were sitting in the timeout, and the coach came up and said, what do you want to do here? And he thought, you've never asked me what I wanted to do before. Like, we've never done this, and now all of a sudden, why do you not know what to do? And he goes, and all of a sudden, just like doubt creeped in for some reason in that moment. Like, it was just different than what had happened before. And
I thought, oh, that's an interesting point. Maybe from experience with the Chiefs being there as opposed. I was thinking it from the Ravens standpoint. And then later that night, you've got Dan Campbell that's going for it on fourth down, and it's like, no, this is what we do. It's like, well, no, we're not going to go for it on fourth. Well, hold on. During the regular season, we've gone for it. So do you not think that we're okay? So are we now? We're okay. So we're just going to be we're game managing then. Okay. So we're going to change sort of the mindset. Do I not need to take this shot deep or whatever? Those little things can be part of it too. I thought that was interesting from Larry Fitzgerald that totally. Small interaction had doubt creep into his mind of, well, maybe the coach isn't confident. Well, I don't know. What do we do here? what you tell me what to do here? I don't know.
You're like, I am the player. You are the coach.
Yes. If I offer a suggestion, that'd be one thing. When Patrick Mahomes against the 49ers said, do we have time to run WASP? And then Eric Bieniemy said he wants to run WASP. What do we think about WASP here? Okay, that's a suggestion. Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid didn't go to Patrick Mahomes and go, Patrick, what do you think? We're looking through here. Yeah. I don't know. Or maybe we get the number 2. No onions, though. I don't like that. What are you thinking? What should we get here? I don't know. Does WASP work? Oh, hey, he wants to run. No, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the interaction. So
insane.
All right, we'll see. We'll break down the Chiefs and 49ers next week with you as Vegas Absolutely. In the future for both of these teams. Cynthia, thank you so much as always. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Still feel bad for you. And hopefully very soon it's the Lions heading to the Super Bowl with Dan Campbell, and they'll be biting kneecaps while holding the Lombardi Trophy one day soon.
Exactly. Some kneecap biting. Maybe it can be the Chiefs and the Lions in New Orleans next year.
Hey, that would be great. I'll take it. Sign me up right now for that.
Sign me up right now. Let's go.
Settling out of court right now. Settle. Cynthia, Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
Yes, you too. There's Cynthia Freeland, the best NFL Network analytics expert, joining us here as that close. Just so close to having Chiefs and Lions. And, we talked about it a couple weeks ago because I wasn't on the show last Wednesday, so you talked with her last Wednesday. But a couple of weeks ago when we were leading into Chiefs and Bills and Lions and Bucks and the division round, I'm like, if these two teams win, all of a sudden the conference championship, and maybe in Vegas it could be Chiefs and Lions. It's just like, oh, that would be amazing. Like that was 2 weeks ago, and oh man, just that close to having it happen, and it didn't. So,
and Dan Campbell was the reason that it's not happening. I wasn't really listening to your guys' conversation. I imagine that's where you ended up.
Yeah, we both said that Dan Campbell made huge mistakes in that one.
Just should have hit the big take the points button that we all know teams have.
Hit the Michael Badgley, who is not Justin Tucker or Harrison Butker and has not been on this team all year, was a guy they found midseason, is the guy you want to put the game in his hands from 40 plus a couple of different times just to, click, click.
At least
points.
At least Badgley didn't try to warm up by kicking footballs into Christian McCaffrey or something. He could have had a worse day.
I want to see the pregame video of Badgley doing lunges near Brock Purdy.
Oh, you could do it to Purdy. I said McCaffrey.
Oh,
one of the good players.
I was thinking of the quarterback though.
Like Debo or Ayuk or Trent Williams or one of the good players.
Don't you say that near Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf would say, Josh, you are an idiot.
Chiefs are going to play young Troy Aikman next Sunday.
More athletic Troy Aikman.
Definitely more athletic. Yes. I mean, a better quarterback, but, for adjusting for era.
More of a go-getter and a winner than just a game manager.
Exactly, right. I mean, it's about a supporting cast, but...
A guy that knows how to use his support.
Purdy seems cool, at least.
Can't wait for Purdy to be on Fox and ESPN one day coming up in about 10 years or so.
I can.
Can't wait for Purdy to walk off the field sad on a week from Sunday. We'll take a timeout, come back, more Zone next. Thank you to Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. We'll talk with Kendall Gammon coming up at noon. NFL Revolutionary, 3.5 time Revolutionary. 913-912-4810. We continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's hear from Andy Reid on the Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray and Tom Brady. Remember when Tom Brady played, Jim Gray and Tom Brady used to always do the halftime interviews of Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Yeah. Every halftime of Westwood One was Jim Gray doing a quick little interview with Tom Brady.
But I always thought I wish this was a full hour.
Here's Jim Gray, Tom Brady, the Let's Go podcast. But this is Andy Reid is on with the podcast. That's why we're playing it. But Andy Reid talked about playing in Vegas, going to Vegas, but playing at the Raiders' home. Here's Andy Reid. See if you took away anything that I did with the small little felt like little jabs, little needling to the Raiders when he talked about going to Vegas for the Super Bowl.
How happy are you that the Super Bowl's in Vegas, where you don't have to worry about your mustache freezing?
I'll tell you.
But good things seem to happen when the mustache freezes. So I don't know how you feeling about this.
Yeah. So listen. That was a cold day. First of all, that was maybe the coldest one I've been in. But the Super Bowl being in Vegas is going to be spectacular. I mean, they have a great facility out there, and you might as well use it, right, as they say. So it's going to be put to use. And then we actually are the home team, so we get to use the Raiders facility, and that's beautiful. And so we look forward to that part, and just keep guys away from the strip, right? That's what you want to do.
Might as well use it.
So good.
It's a great facility. Might as well use it. Going to put it to use, and we get to be the home team, and that's beautiful. Now, is he saying we get to use the Raiders' facilities, and that's beautiful? Their facilities are beautiful, or we get to use the Raiders' facility for the Super Bowl? That's beautiful.
I'm going to count one of those as a verified hit on some. Listen, if there's going to be a big empty stadium there throughout the playoffs, might as well use it.
We're playing there where the Raiders play. It's a beautiful stadium. Might as well use it because they aren't.
That one's a verified hit for me. I think he could just be saying the facilities are beautiful, all of that, but definitely 1.5 units of shade to throw in there. Also, just a quick note before I go through the rest of them.
Yeah.
Why is Andy Reid's microphone better than Tom Brady's? Tom Brady's one of the hosts of this podcast. Can we get the man a Yeti?
It's a rough start for him being an analyst.
Oh, man, Greg Olson's going to have such a good podcast next year.
His microphone is so good.
So crisp.
Is it going to be Greg Olson and Jim Gray? It's going to be Greg Olson and Chris Berman.
Let's go back to the number 2 crew on Fox.
It's the You're With Me Leather podcast with Greg Olson and Chris Berman. Andy Reid talks about playing on the road in the postseason, both against Buffalo and then winning the conference championship in Baltimore.
It was weird. You almost feel like you're intruding in their area, but at the same time, you want to make sure you enjoy the thing. I mean, it's a great accomplishment, but the stands are they're quarter filled with what your fan, whatever fans are out there for that time, and you're looking at purple. Right, I was looking at purple.
Everywhere.
The stands are purple, and so I'm looking at purple with a little bit of red mixed in there for the people that stayed, and it was a little bit surreal. But the best part was we had the guys. It made you focus on the guys that were there, and that's really what it was all about. And so we were able to enjoy that part and together in a foreign area, which brings you even closer together. So I appreciated that.
And I think there you go, a little bit of an insight into, Adams talked about this for a while. The Chiefs, for whatever reason, play better on the road. And as he said, the guys are focused on the guys that are there, and you're in a foreign area, which brings you closer together. And that's what happened. And you feel like you're infiltrating an enemy territory. There's purple everywhere with a little mixed in with some red. But weird for him to go and play a playoff game on the road.
I just rolled my eyes because I just thought of something here on January 31st.
Rolling your eyes at Andy Reid commentary.
Well,
okay.
Sort of, insofar as, you mentioned what Andy Reid likes about going on the road there. Their training camp is on the road. They don't even do training camp at home.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, they literally go on the road to St. Joe. Like, that, what you heard there is the same stuff he talks about loving in St. Joe. Like, we kind of have our own little environment, the team hotel or whatever. That actually makes sense, and I've not put those pieces together till just now.
The adjustments. Christmas Day was a rough day, and Andy Reid has talked a little bit about what happened that day. And Brett Veach, after the game against the Ravens, said that was time to assess everything. Andy Reid said a look in the mirror moment. Here's Andy Reid talking with Jim Gray and Tom Brady about what took place after that low point of the season.
Yeah, listen, I give it to the Pat Mahomes, the Travis Kelce's, the Chris Joneses, the players, that locker room, and Tom can tell it. He knows this, but when you've been there and you understand the urgency that it takes to get there, then you up your game. I mean, that's just what you do. And I think after my man Pierce out there, the Raiders kicked our tail, it woke us up and said, hey, listen, we need to take our game up here a notch, or we're not going to stand a chance here, whether to get in the playoffs and or to win in the playoffs. So those guys took care of business. They got rallied everybody around them and said, here we go. Good things happened.
I love the thought of the Raiders winning but yet losing because it sparked the Chiefs' run through the playoffs. I mean, I won't get over that. If the Chiefs go to Vegas and win against the 49ers, and the fact that the Raiders coming out and winning that game on Christmas Day in the fashion that they did, the manner that they did, embarrassing them, whipping their tails, as Andy Reid said, that son of a buck, doggone it, Herbie. And that sparks them to go, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're the freaking champs. Let's go. Let's act like it. And then they have won every game since. They've rattled off, 5 games in a row, and hopefully a 6-game winning streak that'll take place to end the season. And all because of the Raiders and Pierce and the Condor.
All to have a chance
that's his
to
nickname,
win
right?
it. I think that's right, from Max Crosby,
right?
Yeah.
I got it right.
All for a chance to win it in Vegas.
In Vegas, which is the little cherry.
Beautiful.
Little cherry on top. The Sunday is the season. The whipped cream is making it to the Super Bowl, and the cherry is that it is in Vegas. Let's hear Andy Reid talk. Let's play the Patrick Mahomes leadership before we get into the back-to-back Super Bowls and the conversation he and Tom Brady had, because I think this goes along with the Christmas Day adjustments and everything. When he said, I give it to the players, I give it to Pat and Travis and Chris Jones and those guys to, essentially take what the coaches are saying, we got to take our game up a notch, and then doing that. Tom Brady, the question isn't included here. It's just Andy Reid's answer. But Tom Brady goes on this long discussion about, what he thinks of Patrick Mahomes. It was like 2.5 minutes of Tom Brady just saying, like, he says the right things, getting his players fired up on the sideline, the audio we hear, the mistakes that just aren't made by quarterbacks and everything like that. And the question to Andy Reid was, did he learn this, or has this been something that's sort of natural and instinctual with Patrick Mahomes' leadership?
I think it was natural. For him. He grew up in a locker room with his dad being a professional athlete, so he kind of knew where to go and where not to go. But like you did, it's so hard to cross that line to be kind of part of management, coaches, and then be part of the locker room, and to still manage the locker room and the respect of the guys without them going, oh man, you're just a yes man, to the front office. And he navigates that so easy. And like you did, I mean, that's tough. People don't understand that. And that locker room's a strong place, man. That peer pressure is as strong as it is anywhere, in any situation in life. So, and he handles that and does it gracefully. So I appreciate how he operates.
I've never thought of it that way, to where the quarterback works so much with the coaches that if you then go to the players and like, no, guys, this is what we're supposed to do. It's like, okay, yes, man. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Up, Narc's here. All right, 5-0.
Teacher's pet. Teacher's pet.
Oh, here comes it. Oh, hey, guy. Yeah, how's the meeting with the teacher doing? I never thought about that being sort of Amsterdam, that you're along with the coaches and, as he said, part of the front office to a degree, right? And then also now you're leading the players and they have to follow you. And at this point, everybody that comes into the organization has no choice but to follow Patrick Mahomes.
100%.
It's Patrick Mahomes. In 2018, when he took over, maybe that was a little more difficult to go to the guys like, this is what we need to do, guys. Okay, sure, fella. Now, 4 Super Bowls, anybody that joins the Chiefs is, oh, Patrick is saying that, so we're going to do this.
Unless Tom Brady unretires and joins this team,
that's right.
No one else in modern NFL history has that kind of sway.
Let's hear the Tom Brady and Andy Reid. This is Tom Brady talking for most of it. Just going to back-to-back Super Bowls, the difficulty of that. He is the last quarterback to win back-to-back Super Bowls, but they've been to back-to-back Super Bowls. They just did not get it done, the Patriots, since they won. And the Chiefs very quickly have an opportunity to win back-to-back Super Bowls after not having that come to fruition in 2020 against the Bucs. So here is the conversation. Tom Brady starting off here, and then Andy Reid, the difficulty and what the challenges are of winning back-to-back.
I think that, in my opinion, it's difficult because it's hard to win one Super Bowl. So to win 2 of them in back-to-back years, I mean, it's very, very difficult. And I think when Coach Reid speaks to I think the teams that I was on that were able to do great things year after year, it was the character of the players, the coaches, and the system that we had that brought the best out of everybody in the biggest moments. And we always try to put a lot of pressure on our players all the time to succeed, whether it was an OTA practice, whether it was a training camp practice, whether it was a joint practice, a preseason game. The pressure was always on. It was never, hey, I always remember Coach Belichick would come in a meeting and he'd say, this is a big fucking day. And we joke because all those years, I had 20 years of big fucking days, because everyone was important. And that's how we saw it. I think that really wore off. So we didn't have to wait to Super Bowl week to go, okay, now what? I think you could see Coach Reid and the impact that he has on the players, that, these guys are always, they want to show up and compete. And they don't have to figure out, oh, do I have to turn it on now? No, it's always on. And I think you play these teams, and I've been, seeing a lot of programs and certainly had a chance to watch a lot of football this year. Not a lot of people approach it that way. Sometimes it's just too hard for people to compete like that. And I think I give Coach Reid all the credit in the world for his ability to compete day in, day out, year after year. And that's why the Chiefs are such a world-class organization.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's it is. You said it. It's tough to get to the Super Bowl period, and then to be able to back-to-back it. You taught us part of that lesson, not only as a player, and with the Patriots, but also you kicked our tail at Tampa Bay. And, there's a certain attitude and toughness that you've got to come into each game with. And you presented that to us down there. It was a good learning experience for our guys.
Tom Brady saying that I had 20 years of this is a big ucking day. Sorry, let's go.
He's a superstar, yeah.
Call back to an hour ago. This is a big bleeping day. 20 years. This is a big bleeping day. And so, as he said, when it got to Super Bowl week, there wasn't okay, now what do we do?
Right.
No, it's a big bleeping day. But to the first point that he made, I think that part draws into the first point when he was talking about the players and the character and everything. Because you got to find the right group that's okay with being challenged every single day throughout the year. Being challenged in OTAs and minicamp, and being challenged in St. Joe. Mm-hmm. You got to find the right group of players that in St. Joe, this is BS. No other training camp have I had to go through these. Okay, yeah, but these, when you see red, think of Super Bowls.
Right.
And when you're training in St. Joe, it's because of what's going to happen 5-6 months from now.
There are layers to that, too, though, because I would bet anything that Matt Patricia showed up in Detroit and everywhere else after and said, all right, everybody, it's a big bleeping day. Anyway, well, you're Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
I don't think you can tell me how hard I should work today. Not that guys are actively trying to rail against their coaches, but eventually those messages get stale. You hear the same guys try to proclaim the same confidence or show the same path. Dan Campbell shows up in Detroit. I bet he can walk in every day and say, it's a big bleeping day. Grab some barbecue and some kneecaps, because it's happening.
So we're going to eat barbecue and kneecaps.
And I'm all out of barbecue. But that has to be there from both sides of it, where coaches have to facilitate that buy-in. It's not all just, these young players these days don't listen to coaching. The coaches have to make that translation work. I don't know if Bill Belichick was able to deliver that to Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Those days were not as bleeping big after Brady.
And was Mac Jones able to translate that to the rest of the team the way that it was, well, Brady's saying this, we damn sure better do it?
I don't know if he could translate some. I can tell you he didn't do as well as Tom Brady.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, because if Brady was there quarterbacking, one, the ability, but a number of other things, they wouldn't have looked at nearly as bad as they have since 2020.
Every game would have meant more because we have Tom Brady.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's that group of players, and it's the culture, it's the system, the organization, the coaches, the players that have to have the buy-in and have to be there ready to work and do that over and over. For 6 straight years, you played in either the last or the second to last game of the season. For 6 straight years, you are 2 games away from playing the maximum amount of weeks that you would be out there playing, outside of like some bye weeks in the playoffs, but forget all that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling more Zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour, we'll talk with Kendall Gammon coming up. top of the noon hour. We'll also get into a couple of other clips from the New Heights podcast and hear from Andy Reid going in a little in-depth with Jim Gray and Tom Brady about can you appreciate what's going on in the moment? And, of course, the Taylor Swift phenomena that has taken over the world. And if they win, is she going to be at the parade on Wednesday?
Wow.
2 weeks from today. Last two Super Bowls, the parade's been on Wednesday. She has a show in Australia on February 16th. Now, that would sort of be the next day, since on February 14th in Australia it would be February 15th already. So, but imagine Taylor Swift at the parade.
They're going to have to add some porta potties.
He has a different view of the world, maybe because he spent 15 years looking at it upside down. He knows exactly how many times the ball will rotate on a long snap, and he'll juggle anything you throw at him. It's Kendall Gammon in the Zone. Brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. Time to talk to Kendall Gammon, presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. Kendall Gammon, former chief and NFL revolutionary, joins us here in the Zone. Kendall, what's up, man? How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, obviously, with everything that's gone on. I just, couldn't wait to talk to you.
Well, you know what? We've been looking forward to talking to you, and we'll get to some of the things that happened in the game. We'll get to some of your thoughts on what it means from a sort of dynastic feel for this team. But, of course, we're not going to bury the lead. Kendall Gammon, long snapper, special teamer, a guy who essentially feels like you own the field in warmups, right? That's kind of the feel, is that field is for the kickers and the punters to warm up, and long snappers and the actual, players that'll be playing most of the game doesn't really matter what they do, correct? That's typically the mindset you guys have?
Absolutely. Specialists, we're front page material. Everything else gets buried deep inside.
So I guess let's start with just take me through like some of those warm-ups, because Justin Tucker's like, I do that every single game. And Patrick Mahomes like, yeah, that's only happened when I'm around Justin Tucker. And Travis Kelce's like, yeah, I've never seen that before. So what is sort of the standard operating procedure at, on the field in some of these warm-ups?
Well, generally get out there an hour and 15 minutes before, and we each have half the field. And I've never, ever, I've played 15 years, 243 games, and I've never had an issue with anybody where we were in their way, or if we were, they said something, and we're like, okay, or we said something to somebody else. We never got into whatever they got into, which I think was just, Justin Tucker. I think he said as much trying to get under their skin. So, I have seen some kickers in the past, nobody I was ever with, that would actually kick from the goal line towards the upright, so 10 yards away, just practicing on elevating their kicks and that. But even that's not an excuse, and I don't think it's anything but him trying to flex as much as I guess a kicker can flex. That being said, he should be also a first ballot Hall of Famer going in. So we'll see. But that being said, still a kicker.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to ask you is, the ball on the goal line, and people have talked about like, well, I've never seen a kicker kick the ball from the goal line, and my guess was, well, maybe he's trying to hit the uprights just to sort of work on the aim, or I didn't think of the loft to get the ball up high real quick. I also thought, there is another hash. Because he wasn't really, like, half the time in those videos, he was just stretching and doing, like, lunges and things like that. I feel like that could be done a number of places besides laying the footballs and the helmet right there where Patrick Mahomes is warming up and moving his feet and throwing. And, there's an element of if he's like, hey, can you move that? And he moves it a couple of inches and Mahomes thinks it's gone and steps on a football. Well, hey, Justin Tucker got under his skin and right into his ligament.
Yeah, to quote Stub Brothers, there's so much room for activity. There's plenty of space there to do things, and moving it over a couple inches is just kind of a jerk move. And again, you're just trying to get under the skin and be part of it. And I think that also tells you a little bit of the mindset of Baltimore. Even though they felt confident, they still feel like they had to try to do something if they had a chance to get the guys off their game in Kansas City and the Stars, and of course Mahomes and Kelce. And we saw how that did. I mean, for the life of me, I don't know why you poke the bear. You don't wake the bear up, and I think that just helped wake Mahomes and Kelce up. And was Justin Tucker the reason they played so well? No, but it didn't hurt.
Well, and greatness finds any little thing. Like there's a couple of things to it. What greatness finds any little thing to use as a slight. The part of that too, one other element and aspect that goes into this is, Justin Tucker was like, well, he explained it yesterday, the day before, and said, well, I was just trying to, warm up, and I thought it was sort of playful, and they took it more serious than I did. And I'm like, well, shocker, the guys took the warming up a little more serious. It's the conference championship game. And when you see Kelce's like, no, we're not messing around, man. This isn't joking. You can do a little winky and smiling We're playing in the conference championship game to go to the Super Bowl. This isn't playtime. We're not at the Pro Bowl, playing grab ass. We're getting ready to play a conference championship game. And Travis said on the New Heights podcast that was the whole week, that he and Patrick had that mindset. It was laser focused, locked in, no playing around, no S's and G's or anything like that. Just time to go to a Super Bowl, time to get ready and get in that mindset. And you could tell even in warm-ups they weren't messing around. It was all business.
No, you're absolutely right. And certainly my experience doesn't compare to theirs, but it does kind of a little. My rookie year, fourth game of preseason, basically I was going to snap one half and my competition was going to snap the other, and whoever snapped the best was going to win the job. And I remember going into that laser focus where the helmet never came off, never came unbuckled. And this was my livelihood. I was trying to make the team. I was trying to take somebody else's job and get on there. And, I credit that to how I approached the rest of my career. And you're right. Every game is important, but the AFC Championship game, trying to get to the Super Bowl, that's big stuff. And it does not surprise me that they performed like they did. It doesn't surprise me that they were laser focused the whole week. And having been through that, I know it is a big deal because there's only two games on the stage.
Travis Kelce said last week that this is one he wants more than any other. He wants this worse than he wanted any other conference championship game. And, maybe that's just saying it's in the moment. I want this badly. Maybe in 2020, I want it worse than last year or last year. I want it so bad because they lost in the conference championship game. He certainly said it convincingly. Do you see, or can you see where someone who's been to 3 Super Bowls before can look at this one and go, no, this one's different to me. I want this one worse than I did before. And what would be some of the reasons, do you think, if playing dime store psychologist, as to why this one might mean that much extra for Travis Kelce?
I think simply because it's the next one and everything else is the past, and he's always focused on the present. But that being said, I think Big Red talked about it earlier in the season or even training camp about, I think he addressed the team about, winning Super Bowls is a big deal, but repeating is what really makes you iconic. And I think they recognize that. And so I think that has a little bit to do with it. I think if they win or lose this year, if they got to the Super Bowl next year, his answer, I think, would be the same. It's like, no, I want this one more than anything because it's the one coming up. It's the one I have a chance to win.
Yeah, and I think also, like, he's had so many amazing seasons. And, we talk about the streak being broken this year of not getting to 1,000 yards receiving in the regular season. And he has just been a different guy in the playoffs. And his 11 catches on 11 targets with 3 pretty difficult catches along the way. Had a touchdown. 100-plus yards in the game against, the safety that shuts tight ends down, the safety that hasn't had a touchdown scored on him all year except for the first possession of the game when Travis Kelce goes up against him and scores a touchdown on him. I brought this up yesterday, and I'll ask you as well. And I asked Adam Teicher and Todd Lebo and said, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. I've watched every Travis Kelce game in my life, as most everybody else around here has. I think that was the best game I've ever seen from Travis Kelce, with everything on the line and everything that meant. That I thought that was the best game I've ever seen from Travis Kelce. Am I a prisoner of the moment, or do you see that as to how that would surpass some of the other performances we've seen from first ballot Hall of Famer, greatest to ever do it?
Jason, I couldn't agree more. That first catch was amazing for the touchdown, or the touchdown catch. I don't know that it was the first catch, but first of all, he really couldn't have been guarded much better than he was, defended much better. That was indefensible in my estimation, throwing that back shoulder, and then to be able to turn and do what he did. So, kudos to Baltimore. For defending that. But laying out, you could just see, you could sense it. And even with the catches, how he got upfield as quickly as possible, which I've always thought he did a great job. Now, the one person who does it better when he catches the ball getting straight up the field is Rashee Rice, which is amazing as well. But Kelce, those 11 catches, 11 targets, and what he did in the first half. Number one was amazing. Number two is amazing in the fact that you could scheme and figure out a way for him to get that open. But that goes to his innate ability to understand the windows and hook up in those windows and just be on the same page with Patrick Mahomes.
Can a bye week really do all of that to where he just takes a break and a mental rest and doesn't go out there and play? And he looks younger. He looks faster. He looks more spry. He doesn't look injured because he was looking pretty slow, second half of the season. You're like, man, this is I don't know. Is he distracted? Does he have other things going on off the field? Things that are infiltrating, what could be the laser focus from Travis Kelce in the past. And then that bye week happens, and he talked about, even the benefit it had going into the Bills game. He's like, yeah, it was nice for the Miami game, but even now I still feel fresh going into this game against Buffalo. Can a bye week really do that to where the man's got, 23 receptions in the postseason already, heading into game number 4 now of this run?
I think the short answer is apparently so. But when you look at it, I think he was injured throughout the year, had bumps and bruises. Nothing that you would actually report, but I think he was probably dealing with a lot of stuff. And when you get an extra week, it just really does make a difference in so many different ways. And it makes a difference psychologically, emotionally, to be able to get away from the game a little bit and relax your mind. So it's huge. And I know you all have talked about it this week, which is now he has that again with his 2-week break between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl and makes it even better. But it was noticeably different on how he was moving after that bye week. I mean, there's just no question about it. You can question a lot of things, but you can't question that. He was moving much, much better.
Kendall Gammon is our guest, presented by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Can you put into words, as somebody who's an ambassador, a Chiefs alumni, this team, this organization making 4 Super Bowls in a 5-year run?
Wow. It's hard to fathom. I think Chiefs Kingdom understands it because everybody tries to make them understand how fortunate they are. But you talked about the dynasty and everything going on, and certainly you have to talk about it, whether they win or lose. But if they win, then it's definitely part there. And the only reason that we curb our tongues a little bit is because of what the Patriots did. Otherwise, it would be no question. You'd be saying dynasty already. But it is so tough. I played in the 94 AFC Championship, 94 season AFC Championship game, and we lost in the last play to the Chargers, who then went and got throttled by the 49ers in Miami. But then we come back the next year, and we beat the Colts after a long-distance Hail Mary throw by Jim, Chargers coach, next year's Super Bowl favorite. Forgot.
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, thanks. That escaped me.
Oh, you're good.
But getting to the Super Bowl is so difficult. So to do it in the fashion they've done this year, and then having done it so many times, obviously, in a row, is just you wouldn't think that was possible unless you saw it done. So it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and the evolution of this team too. 2 years ago, this was a team that had Tyreek Hill. They're playing in the AFC Championship game, trying to go to 3 straight Super Bowls, and they don't win that game. And now a couple of years later, this is a team that scores 17 points and wins against the best offense in the NFL.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just go back. When you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you've always got a puncher's chance. And I go back to my Steelers and everything there. Not to get on him, he was a good QB, but we had Neil O'Donnell. They had Troy Aikman. I mean, this is Sesame Street. One of those things is not like the other. Yeah. And so it's such a big deal having the QB that we have, that we've had, and that we will have for the foreseeable future.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon, he's our guest. How difficult is that then? Let me ask you from that standpoint. How difficult is it to go from 2 years ago yesterday is when they lost to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game to then 2 years ago, just a few days ago, they go into an AFC Championship game, and they're a team that is, right around top 10, top 15 in offense and phenomenal on defense, and they win 17-10. How difficult is it to go from a team that feels one-sided on offense with playmakers everywhere and you can score from any blade of grass on the field to you got to manage the game, you got to make sure you don't set up short fields for the other team and let your defense just go out there and be dominant? I mean, it's 2 football seasons that this team has changed their identity.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I would say in general, it takes about 17 games, which is what it took this year for them to figure out. Because when you saw Mahomes talking towards the end of the season, he started talking about how punts weren't bad. And I think, the perfect example was him, not trying to make a play there at the end of the game and just taking the sack. And I think Big Red talked about it this week, probably you and Josh have talked about it as well, of understanding the type of defense that they have. And they're like, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to put our defense in a bad position, our team in a bad position. Then the defense comes out and they do what they do. I mean, to hold Baltimore to 10 points is just phenomenal. And so, just having that trust and that side of it. And then again, them getting the ball at the end and go ahead and running out the clock is phenomenal, and just doing what they have to do. I mean, you don't get Styles points in the NFL, obviously, and we would talk about it all the time. I guarantee you they talk about it. It doesn't matter. Just one more point, the other team don't care how it happens. You just want to be holding that Lombardi trophy again in front of Chiefs Kingdom.
There's a number of 49ers players that played in that Super Bowl a few years ago against the Chiefs in 2019, 2020, that season. But not necessarily the game coming up in less than 2 weeks. But even looking back at the game on Sunday, I don't know how much I've put NFL experience into weighing the entire game. That kind of blew up in my face a couple of years ago when the Bengals came into Kansas City and won that game, because that was an upstart team and they had a good win against the Raiders in round one, and they went against Ryan Tannehill on the road and he threw like 4 interceptions. That's not happening with Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs have been there, done that. They're defending AFC champions back-to-back years, and the Bengals go right in to Kansas City and they fall behind early, but they were the ones that kept their heads in the game, and they were the ones that played like the more experienced team. So I dismiss it to a degree, but I am wondering from your standpoint, how much of a factor can that play? Because coming out of the game on Sunday, I definitely felt one team was used to the moment and another team let the moment sort of take over them, and it felt a little bit too big at the time.
Yeah, I think you're right on the mark. I think I put a lot of stock into playoff experience and even AFC Championship experience, which is even more. And I do think Baltimore, a lot of the guys, I mean, they would tell you, yeah, this is about going to the Super Bowl, but they were happy to be in the AFC Championship game. And I think until you do it, there can be a little bit of a seed of doubt. And kudos to Cincinnati, as you mentioned, a couple of years ago coming in, and that speaks to what that team was. But that was a hard-fought game. And you know what? The Chiefs, I just think the experience factor played into it, and especially the fact that they go on the road into Baltimore, and with this Baltimore Ravens team that was so good on offense and defense and has what should be the MVP of the league in Lamar Jackson. And again, I mean, it goes back to how we started our conversation, which is Mahomes and Kelsey talked about being laser focused the whole week. And if you think that didn't bleed down to everybody, then you're smoking something, because it absolutely did. When you've got your leaders like that, it becomes focused. You understand the moment. Again, I can go way, way back to my time, and you understand how big a deal it is. And so, I put a lot of stock in experience.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon. We'll get into a breakdown of the game, Chiefs and 49ers, next week when we have you on getting closer to the game. But real quick, before we let you go, Charles Omenihu, we found out on Monday afternoon that is an ACL tear. He is out for the year. And, the very next play, unfortunately, after he gets the sack on Lamar Jackson and strips the football, the Chiefs get the ball. The very next play, first play of the next possession for the Ravens, he tears his ACL, and that's awful. It is certainly an issue because, next man up, all of that stuff. But eventually, that next man up is going to be somebody that, may not, be able to play at a high level. But how much of a concern is it to you with Omenihu not being there? And how much do you think Steve Spagnuolo and the rest of this team can try to mask that and maybe overcome losing somebody who's been such a good player for this team, since he, returned from suspension?
Well, the depth goes down, like you said, and certainly they've dealt with that this year in terms of linebacker position, and that's a little bit of an anomaly because you normally don't get somebody like Drew forgot his name again.
Tranquil.
Excuse
Yep.
me. Yeah, Tranquil. Sorry about that.
You're good.
That is signed in the off season that can come in there and do what he does, and he could be a starter in a lot of different places or almost everywhere. So that being said, though, I do think the D line of Kansas City has rotated a lot this year. I don't know the exact numbers. You guys probably do, but it takes you down one, so that it makes a difference. It is what it is, but I guarantee you there's nothing but, next man up, like we talked about it, and it's the truth, and somebody's got to step up. They're expected to step up, and that's the one thing we always talk about in the NFL is you're always one play away from going in and playing a position and being a starter. For me, it was probably 3 or 4 plays, but all the same, it was something that you understood, and injuries are part of the game. But, the other part is sometimes when that happens, some of your stars, they step up a little bit more, and I would think Chris and George Karlaftis would probably continue to step up, but we will see. I mean, FAU maybe has to step up and do some things as well.
Yeah, and next man up, I mean, Nick Allegretti. I mean, my goodness, what a fun story for him.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah, and the first start he had in the playoffs was against the Ravens since the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl game, in which he was a part of the offensive line that, is looked at as the reason they lost that game, is the offensive line was so bad, and nothing he could really do about it. It was all 5 across the line that, everybody was playing in different positions except for Austin Ryder snapping the football. But yeah, so awesome for him to get some of that redemption. And those emotions took over after the game for him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You could tell what it meant to him. Like, we know what it means to players, but man, you could tell right there what the 4 years have been like, and just sort of working behind the scenes, constantly working, waiting for your chance, getting the chance, and then going out and performing and helping your team get to a Super Bowl.
I will say this: when the backups that are coming in to play defensive line come in, everybody on the team will know them, whatever. What you don't want is what I experienced my rookie year when I had to go in an offensive line during a regular season game where Neil O'Donnell looked at me and said, "What are you doing in here?"
Oh my
God.
I
guarantee you he did not know my name. Because we had some injuries, so I was playing right tackle. So that's what you don't want, and that's not what the Chiefs are going to have. I mean, you're one man down, but you've got other guys that have been playing that have been in rotation.
Yeah. What was your answer?
I just looked at him. And, come on, I'd never played in a regular season game. I'd played preseason. I was just like, let's go. Yeah. I don't remember what I said. I just will always remember him looking at me and saying what he said, and kind of thinking that was funny. That being said, myself and the right guard, we picked up the twist, and the Pro Bowl guys on the left side did not. So,
oh wow, okay,
there you go.
Take that, Neil. All right.
Yeah.
Did you respond?
Exactly.
Did you respond? Same question to you.
Exactly right. What I did was I just moved over a couple inches, and I thought he was kind of playing around.
There you go. Kendall Gammon, our guest. Kendall, you're the man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to our conversation next week, breaking down a matchup in the Super Bowl. Yet again, you and I talking some Super Bowl Chiefs and whoever they end up playing. We know this year now it's the 49ers, last year being the Philadelphia Eagles. Good God, there's so many Super Bowls. Which one did they play last year?
Exactly, yeah. What a problem to have, right?
They play the Eagles. That's right. The Eagles were last year. Kendall, you're the man. Appreciate it, sir. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk next week, bud.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right, there's Kendall Gammon, presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen, recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone right after this. Hanging out with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour at Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. Thank you to Kendall Gammon joining us. NFL revolutionary. He's also never seen a kicker do that before a game. So apparently it's just a Justin Tucker thing. Like it's not like Lawrence Tynes, mutually shared. It's a mutually shared field. It's mutually shared. Everybody can share this field. It's like mutual fund, but it's just mutual. Everybody can share this. Everybody, it's like, it's like family style when you go out to a nice restaurant and everybody just put some green beans out there, maybe some potato casserole, whatever it might be. It's just shared. Just mutual, some mashed potatoes. It's mutually shared field. Apparently you're the only one that says that, Larry.
But if you put your hand in the mashed potatoes, you're still a bleep hole.
Well, if you want to be a D about taking all the mashed potatoes, I mean, it's not mutually shared. You jerk.
I thought we were all sharing. I thought it'd be fine if I double dipped over and over and over again. You're wrong.
Is this not the trust tree? Are we not in the tree? Can we not share right now? Is this not the No? It's not the deal, man. It's not what happens. He's never had an interaction like that. And Patrick Mahomes has only had interactions with Justin Tucker like that. And Travis Kelce told Justin Tucker that if you want to be a bleeping D about it, then don't worry. In a competition of being a Richard, I will one-up you in being a Richard. And Travis Kelce saying, I could have thrown his helmet into the 10th row if I wanted to. I tossed it away as nicely as I could. In the moment.
He should have taken Justin Tucker's helmet and put it on top of the upright. Just up there where the flags are. Just shimmy on up there, put his helmet up, slide down like a firefighter pole. Boom. Go get it, Justin.
We find out with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes making a cameo on the Pat McAfee show. We find out that if Justin Tucker had missed that field goal late in the game, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce were going to sprint around the field to pick up a 15-yard penalty, sprinting to and around Justin Tucker. Because, they were coming on the field to take over on offense anyway. Yep. It's not like they were not allowed on the field there.
Yep.
That would be a mutually shared space for them to be on, since they would be coming on for offense. Mutually shared spots there. Now, is it mutually shared for them to run right next to Justin Tucker and talk some smack to him and lunge in front of him? I don't know. You would have to ask if they want to be a bleeping D about it.
It's a shared space at that point.
God, the scene if Justin Tucker would have missed that. He robbed us of, he giveth the pregame scene and then taketh away what could have been petty Pat and ticky-tacky Trav.
I actually have the analytics here. Justin Tucker did have still a -4 expected points added for the Ravens in that game, just from the pregame action to the field goal there and the extra points. So ultimately still a very negative performance for the future Hall of Famer.
He was a -22% win probability added to the game before the game even started. The biggest impact Justin Tucker had on the game was before the game even started.
Yeah, the Ravens were at actually 68% leading up to warm-ups, but by kickoff it was 50-50. So,
yeah, FPI had him at 60-40.
Wow, did it really?
Yep, and then they saw the FPI, the analytics, saw the Justin Tucker thing, and they put it at 51-49.
Can't believe Dan Campbell did that.
It's dumb. Dumb is what it is. I think the FPI has 58-32. Or, yeah. No, 58-42. I'll get it right eventually.
You will figure it out at some point. Yeah. 68 teams make the tournament,
right?
Just the play-in rounds, the first 4.
I looked at it the other day. I actually do want to see what that is, because it was 60-40 Ravens before the
87 plus 13 equals 100. It'll be Taylor Swift's 13th game.
No, are you serious? Is that real?
And I don't know what the slash line on that is, but I will look and see.
Yeah. Let's see.
What's his war? One started. Thanks, Justin Tucker.
I was close. 59.4 to 40.6. So almost 60-40. As pretty damn close to 60-40. But if we want to round up and round down, 59-41. But so essentially the FPI gives the same win probability to the 49ers as they did the Ravens. So there you go. Turned out well for the Ravens. We'll see how it turns out for
I've already
the 49ers.
Forgotten the Niners kicker's name. I got a not. Is it Moody?
It's Moody.
Moody. Hey, Moody.
It was Moody.
I got an idea for you, Moody.
Moody.
a place you should put your helmet in about a week and a few days.
Yeah, I would not. We'll have to find out Sunday or a week from Sunday with the with the warm-ups to see what Moody's going to be doing.
In all seriousness, it would be the gutsiest thing I've ever seen a kicker do. To do the exact same thing beat for beat than what Justin Tucker did. I think if he did it once and then got out of the way, I think Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes would laugh. I think if Moody walked up and he was like, oh, are you guys, I was just going to practice here. Is that cool? And then walked off, I think that'd be an icebreaker. I think he should do that.
I want Moody to walk up where they're doing their interviews or where they're doing their pregame warm-ups and just one time, just a
deep lunge.
Deep lunge. What are you guys doing over here? You guys? You guys warming up?
Trav, could you grab my kicking tee for me? Since you moved Justin's for him last week.
How you guys doing, huh? You guys good to go? Just gonna get my legs stretched out right now. Just a little bit of a lunge here. Just a lunge over by you.
Pat,
you guys are working right here. My bad.
Pat, can you just hold this ball real quick? I won't kick your hand or anything. That's fine. Just hold the ball.
No, I'll move. Was this not the share? Oh, my bad.
You want me to go down there? Yeah, that's cool.
Check out somewhere else, man. Just trying to get my stretching in. Trying to stretch it out here. Come on, man.
What if we embrace this and the lineman warm-ups now happen at like the 45-yard lines of each team? So we're shrinking down the demilitarized zone to like a 5 or 10-yard spread.
Yeah.
If you touch a member of the other team, instant ejection. How about that? Bring up the tensions, but it's a hold yourself back situation.
Well, that's the thing is apparently you can throw a punch before the game.
Yeah, that's totally legal and completely fine.
Because Mollett threw a punch before the game.
Yeah.
He headbutted and then threw a punch at Jalen Watson.
Yeah, it's a thing that happened. It's on video.
But not even a penalty. So technically they had 6 personal foul penalties. 5 in the game and 1 before. But they didn't call it.
I wonder what the extent of that could be. I mean, the game, how wacky are we going to get pregame? What if you put him in a chokeslam?
What if that turned into a brawl?
Yeah.
And like there were actual punches being thrown, helmets off.
Swinging the helmet.
That's
like,
right.
Myles Garrett.
Dropping the gloves, although it's not as easy to drop the gloves. They actually just they got to, hold on. I'm just going to take my necklace off. Going to take my earrings out. Hold on, take this glove. Oh, wait.
Concussion collar.
It's on. By the way, it's on once I get these gloves off. All right, let's go.
Unwrap my hands.
I think you would think there'd have to be like some ejections, right? Or it's just like, guys, calm down, okay? Now, don't you dare do this when the game starts.
It would. I do think at that point it would be a premature ejection, but we have ads for that, so we can help you out if you struggle with.
That's true.
Premature ejections.
That's probably right. Is it then? Do the police get involved then because the game's not? Because you can throw punches all you want while the game's going on, but if the game's not going on, you throw a punch. That's assault.
Right, and after the game, if you punch someone, it's definitely just assault. They can eject you after the game is over.
Right.
When does the referee's watch begin? Is a genuine question that I have now.
When do the referees take over for the police?
Yeah, that's exactly. But
when does it turn from assault to a 15-yard penalty?
When does it turn from assault to football? Because football would be assault in any other context.
But when does throwing a punch turn from 15 days community service or whatever for assault to 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down? Like, when is that threshold? Because clearly, with pads on and Mollett throwing a punch to Jalen Watson, police and security are right there. They saw that. They were just like, oh, look at that. Those guys are fighting. If they were at a bar and saw that, I don't think they'd be like, oh, look at that. Those guys are fighting. It's all good. There might be some handcuffs. The fisticuffs turn into handcuffs.
If you were at a baseball game and a football game broke out, someone would call the police.
Probably.
We have acknowledged that at some point when the kickoff happens, at least, at the latest, when the kickoff happens, real laws no longer apply on the gridiron, and it's up to the guys in the striped shirts to enforce the fake law. But does it start before the opening kick or not?
It's great. It feels like there's a purgatory.
Yes.
There's a middle area to where there are no laws.
That's right.
Because when you have your pads on and throw a punch, you're not going to get arrested. But it's also not a 15-yard penalty.
I can reel it back. Coin toss, from that point on, the refs are in charge.
Okay.
At least.
Okay.
It could still go back further.
Right.
I think maybe once you're in shoulder pads, it's like, hi, I'm in my football clothes now. I can't get arrested for being violent. This is my set.
But they both.
But they didn't call anything in that instance.
But they both have to be in shoulder pads because after the game, Devontae Adams and the fan or the guy that was working in the media here at Arrowhead and got pushed.
Yep.
that was then, cited
legal.
and that went to a legal matter.
Right. I mean, and also he
wasn't.
wasn't.
Only one person was in pads.
And he wasn't invested in a 15-yard penalty for him would have just been getting him, I guess, 15 yards closer to his car in the parking lot or something, and that's not that helpful for him at that point, probably.
15-yard pit, they would just moved him back to middle of the end zone while he was walking towards the tunnel. So Devontae Adams, that 15-yard penalty would not have
it doesn't really affect him that much. No, I think it's definitely got to be mutual, shoulder pads v. shoulder pads, helmet v. helmet, whatever. You have to be on equal playing field there.
Literally
in this case, I suppose,
and also figuratively. So
I think we gotta let there be a definitive line. There should be a whistle at some point, probably during warmups. There should be a whistle that announces that for the players suited up here, laws no longer apply. It's like the purge. We do the purge for 8 hours of commercial-free purge ball, and you just let it go.
But now, so if we found this technicality, if we have found this. No rules taking the train in Yellowstone. If we have found this area in high school, if you're going to get into a fight, just meet pregame before the football game on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean,
because then it's like, oh no, we were just warming up. It's all good. No, police, you can't.
It's got a little chippy. It's not. This is an assault.
We were on the field. We were on the field. He's a football player. I'm a football player. So we were on the field. And just put some shoulder pads on.
Yeah, he was wearing shoulder pads, and I stabbed him in the neck. There were no pads there. I get it, but we're suited up.
Put shells on.
Yeah.
Just put the shoulder pad shells so you can have more range of movement, right?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a good way to fight.
And then you want to put a helmet on, probably not, but do you put like the boxers, when you're sparring? Do you want to put that sort of
now we're just inventing padded boxing in UFC, which could actually be kind of sick.
Right. But if we found this middle ground to where the cops nor the officials are in charge, there is nobody in charge. This is, the football version of the road. There are no rules. Maybe just schedule things to happen in that.
Why don't we just do it like hockey, where the ref sits there and he is the ref of the fight, but also the game. And there's kind of a point where
when somebody falls, it's over.
He's had enough. Right.
Yeah. As soon as the guy hits the ice, the fight is over. You guys can swing and do whatever you want. Gloves are off. Helmet's weird. You got a hold of the jersey. He's swinging. He's punching. He's connecting. That guy's getting connected as soon as somebody goes down. Oh, it's over now. Whoa. I know you just pummeled his nose and broke it in 3 different places, but you will not throw a punch with him touching the ice with his leg, with his knee or his butt. No. Now it's over. It's over.
Maybe we give refs tasers so they can kind of take on all 3 roles if necessary.
Okay.
We need to deputize referees. I think handcuffs and tasers. Okay. I don't think we give them lethal force. I think we give them handcuffs and tasers.
Can't give them lethal force.
That seems excessive.
Yeah.
Usual. But
so the official walks over and Mollett throws the punch at Jalen Watson, and he immediately turns him around and puts handcuffs on him. He was like, "Sorry, dude, Jalen, do you want to press charge?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, that guy's a starting cornerback. I want to press charges."
Well, no, I mean, Spags hasn't pressed in all day anyway, so I mean he's in the right headspace for it. I think you either you see a punch thrown. We make what does football need more of? Referees making decisions.
Yeah,
I was right one step ahead of you.
Especially great subjective decisions.
So what a referee needs to do, a lot of tasers are yellow taser on one hip, yellow flag on the other. You are either throwing the flag or firing your taser. I mean, if it's in that pregame action, you decide it's either 15 yards to start the game or one of your starting defenders is getting tased.
So now I'm just imagining. Okay. Now I'm imagining that I need a prop here or something like that. I'll use
the
this
baseball bat over there. Okay.
So now I'm imagining Zay Flowers getting tackled, pushing up, spiking the ball, and luxuriously looking.
100%. I was really worried you were going to miss the chair there. The chair got so far away from you. Good.
It's 15-yard penalty
great
plus.
Fall by you.
I needed you to stop doing that, so we had. Sorry, I had to tase you, bro.
I think it's either or. It's either or.
Oh, so if you get tased, it's not a 15-yard penalty?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that way it's up to the ref to decide the series. 5 and 15-yard pass interferences are a thing of the past, but 15 yards or getting tased, that's the future.
So if it's like running into the kicker and roughing the kicker, the 2 different things.
Yes, exactly.
So can it be a tasing and a 5-yard personal foul, or is it just 15-yard personal foul or a tasing?
No,
it's just no middle ground?
It's just one or the other, but if that Ravens receiver does it, you can't just yell, "Don't zase me, bro!"
I think you should get your flowers for that one.
I think I should get tased for that one.
We done? We good?
I'm good. I feel great.
You got anything to add?
I think we solved that one.
Josh, anything?
I think we nailed it.
I know Mick texted. I was going to bring this up at some point, but Mick texted and said, in high school basketball, if you dunk in pregame warm-ups, you can be assessed a technical foul for the game. Yeah, that's what I thought, too. I'm like, I saw the punch thrown, and I'm like, is that like dunking in pregame warm-up? Do they get a technical for that? Does Mahomes come out and shoot free throws? The Chiefs have been playing basketball a lot in practice. Is that preparing for the free throws they'll get before the game?
If you get a tech for dunking pregame, the ref should get tased. Because that's soft.
I thought you could get a 15-yard unsportsmanlike.
I thought so too.
I think so too.
I thought Millette was going to have. They were going to showing that to say
Right.
Something.
This is why the kickoff is 15 yards up. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
right. Because the Chiefs have, well, it wouldn't have mattered if the Chiefs accepted it on the kickoff. They were kicking off, so it would just gone. It would have been Ravens starting at the 25-yard line anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Would it have changed the Chiefs taking the ball first if they got the ball at the 40? With the 15-yard, or excuse me, they would kick off from the 20. The Ravens would have to kick off from the 20.
So the Chiefs. I think you take the ball there.
Man, now we're getting into real strategy changes because Romo was really surprised that Andy Reid won the toss and deferred.
That was the canary in the coal mine of that game.
Romo was really surprised that he was actually doing a football game that day. He was really surprised he woke up and did a football game in the AFC Championship game. I'm really surprised that, every single game we've ever done with the Chiefs and Andy Reid,
which is a lot.
If he's won the toss, he's deferred. But this surprises me. I'm surprised. If I woke up with my hair sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now with him deferring. Interesting. You don't want the Ravens offense to go out there first, do you?
We all say dumb stuff sometimes. Sometimes we forget things.
Speak for yourself and Tony.
Tony Romo has done a lot of Chiefs games, and the only time they ever start with the ball is when they lose the toss. It's the only thing they do. I think there was one exception a year or 2 years ago that I can't even remember why it was. Maybe it was just, honestly, maybe not. 2 years ago, the exception might have been that they lost the toss. They won like 13 in a row or something.
I remember there being conversations about should the Chiefs take the ball first because it was like a year ago or 2 years ago. It wasn't last year, but maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. When they were struggling, and Andy Reid was asked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys ever think about when you win the coin toss to take the ball? No, we do what we do. We do what we do. Because there was a conversation of like, should they start taking the ball first and going and scoring or whatever it might be. The conversation at the time, I remember something around that.
Yep. We've talked about it because it's been such a stalwart of this Chiefs team that they win and defer.
Yeah.
Which is why it was a little interesting that Tony Romo was stunned.
Why do you think they did this, Tony? I don't know, Jim. I guess we'll have to find out. I want to play this Joy of the Moment and Taylor Swift phenomenon with Andy Reid. Maybe we'll do that with Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. I continue to forget to let people know.
Big news.
That we have a Sad Fans today.
Got another Sad Fan!
And I feel like it's just such derelict of duty that the first thing I should have said when we started the show today is that we have a Sad Fans coming up in the 1 o'clock hour with Mick Schaefer. Sad Fans Baltimore Ravens. And I meant to mention that in the second segment of the show. And then I reminded myself before the third segment of the show to mention Sad Fans.
Yeah.
And then I was going to mention it before Cynthia Freeland came on. Yeah. And I reminded myself to mention it as we go to break with Cynthia Freeland. But I definitely wanted to mention it when we came back from break with Cynthia Freeland and played some of the Andy Reid clips, that we would have some more audio with Sad Fans. And then the third segment of that hour, and then previewing and posting Kindle, and then the last segment as well. So I'm glad I finally got to it after the ninth time of reminding myself that we will have a Sad Fans today in the 1 o'clock hour with one Mick Schaefer.
He gets to be here for it and everything.
He gets to hear Sad Fans.
Same deal as last week. Listener Iced Pyro has stepped into the box, and he knocked it out of the park last week. And we got another round here of the NFL world trying to grapple with what they're seeing.
By the way, on the Pat McAfee show, Travis Kelce was on it earlier today. And he was asked about wearing the black for the game. And Travis Kelce wore black. A number of other players wore black. Chris Jones wore black with no socks. All business. Business up top. Party on your feet. And Travis Kelce said, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wearing the black. Chris Jones said it, everybody. We're going in there as the villains. Wearing the black. We're going into the bank like Chiefsaholic, baby. Travis Kelce, we are wearing black, and we're going into the bank like Chiefsaholic. Of course, the Chiefs would accomplish that at a bank.
Incredible.
With this year's worth of stories of Chiefsaholic in the bank, the Chiefs would go into somebody's bank and rob them of their moment.
We made it Mahomes and Travis Bank last week, I think, M&T.
M&T, Mahomes and Travis.
Right there for you, everybody. Robbing the bank.
Robbing the bank. I mean, they wore all black. And Patrick Mahomes wore velvet. I mean, that's as much as we should have known at that point.
We should have known. I saw some of the pregame fits. It was looking like it was heading that direction. I already made my predictions. If I would have known.
Oh,
L'Jarius Sneed wearing mostly red, but he's had a real fit heater also. MVS, I think, was Louis head to toe, but head to knee, and then nothing from knee to ankle, and then ankle to toe. He's wearing shorts.
Sneed's mom wearing the Mama Sneed jersey.
I didn't see that. That's good.
Yeah. Did you see after the game her and L'Jarius Sneed talking?
You say that now. I go, oh yeah, I saw that roll by during postgame at some point, and I never actually watched it.
She got on the microphone and she was complimenting her son. She looked at her and she said, "Thank you for knocking the ball out of that man's hands." Because we go into the Super Bowl. Thank you, son, for knocking the ball out of that man's hands. It's just telling her son, thank you for making one of the biggest plays in Chiefs playoff history.
It's awesome that she's giving him his flowers.
You don't say.
Oh! Just throw the break, Dylan.
I was going to say, it's a shame that this is a minute.
No, just let the music go. We'll just sit here and enjoy the music.
We got some Sad Fans coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Wow. Do we have Donovan Smith there at mixed in every once in a while going, oh, he's sad.
He's sad.
Oh, he's sad. Look at him. Sad ass. He's sad. God, man. Pat Mahomes Sr. smoking on that Lamar Jackson special pack.
All right, let's see if we can hit it here. You know what I thought was cool, Jason? When L'Jarius Sneed's mom gave L'Jarius his flowers.
You're a little early on that.
You don't say.
The Zone is presented by Guarantee Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, hanging out here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director. Welcome to the show, bud.
So if I cuss before the show into this microphone, can I be assessed an FCC violation?
No, you'll just get tased.
I will tase you.
Okay.
By Todd.
Yep.
Todd does the tasing. Taser Todd, that's what we call him, the air.
I've been close to being tased twice, not for breaking the law, just knowing somebody with a taser. And just like, I want to see how it works. I want to see, it's like 5 seconds that feels like 45 seconds of just paralysis.
I have also been masochistically curious of what it would feel like to be tased. But I don't want to do it in the moment of like, well, the cops are actually doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
We befriended a cop in Surprise long ago. He was monitoring the fields right there at the outside the Royals facility and everything, and we got to know him. And we were like, "So do you tase guys? Tase people? Oh yeah." And we're like,
"Oh yeah."
And my buddy was there with me. He'll go nameless, but he's like, "Can you tase me?" And he's like, "Yes. Tomorrow, come back with a new pair of pants because you're gonna piss yourself, and I'll do it." And so he came. He was wearing his basketball shorts.
He wear the
went up
pins.
to it, and he's like, "Fellas, I'm sorry. I talked to my, superior. He said I can't do it," which is obvious. You would think you can't just for fun do it. But I'm like, why are you asking? We wouldn't have told anybody.
But that's where the Jason Kelce is like, hey, Captain, I'm not asking. I'm telling you this is happening. I'm not asking for permission. I'm telling you this is happening.
I still have an outstanding taser bet that I have not been able to pay off.
You have not been tased?
I have not been tased.
Come on, bro.
It all started from me saying that I would be shocked if the Chiefs took a running back in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft.
Say that again?
Right.
I said I would be shocked if the Chiefs took a running back in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. Now, that's been a minute. But Seth Kaiser was supposed to be the one to tase me, as I got that wrong. And then a pandemic happened.
Does he have a taser?
Down. His sister does.
Okay.
Every time he comes to town, I say, "Get your taser from your sister." And a pandemic happened, so he didn't come down for a while. And then I almost died, and he was like, "I don't want to tase you." And I was like, "It's fine." He said, "Get your mom's permission, and then I'll tase you." My mom said, "Tase him, it's fine." And now it's just, the ball's been in Seth's court for a minute now.
If I'm Seth, at this point, I'm thinking like, are COVID and this diabetes thing just smoke screens that Josh is throwing up?
That's a great point.
For him not to get tased? That's what I think.
I am just I want to be tased now.
I'm worried about the impending pandemic, and if I have diabetes, then I don't know that I'll be able to pay off the lunch bets. Both of them.
I was walking in today. I'm like, I haven't had lunch. It'd be really nice if Jason, one of these years,
I have
paid off those lunch bets.
No, I've got to follow up with my doctor in November. Then
after that, maybe.
Then after that, well, we'll see what the results are. I mean, I don't know what the results are, but I can't take a chance right now. Not in January. Almost said February. It's not February yet. Not in January. Not till at least November. So yeah, we'll just have to put it on hold for a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, Mick and Dylan. So let's ignore Jason for a second.
Aww.
What if we offer him a trade-in package where he can cash in one of those outstanding lunch bets for us to tase him? Is that a trade we would accept as the committee?
Yeah, but
okay.
I'm down with it.
One lunch bet, you mean?
I want to see somebody get tased.
Two lunches.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, Jason.
2 lunches for a tase.
All right, here's the thing,
How about
Jason.
this?
2 lunches equal 1 tase. I'm stacking lunches so that I can just wipe it out in 5 seconds.
If I get tased, can I have like 2 get out of lunch free cards?
Only if you do it on the air.
Ooh.
Only if you do it on the air.
Okay. I've gotten tough on the air here on this air before. It's when you get you find a partner and you pull up the back of his shirt and just slap the crap out of his back as hard as you can.
Never
but
heard
then
of
he
it.
turns around and does it to you.
Was that a nighttime bet?
It was a nighttime deal. They were like,
Was that on your show, Josh?
No, that predated me.
Predated.
Was it Dave Armstrong's show? The nighttime show?
It post-dated that.
Okay, that was. So was it my show?
If it would have been on
TJ
on Armstrong's show,
Nope.
it would have.
We'll get. I mean, was it Sterling?
Rest of us figured it out a few minutes ago.
I can't figure this out.
I think there's a way that we can cash this in, but Jason, I think
when he did the night show, okay, back in the 1970s.
If the overnight in Vegas, I knew
That's it.
If we have an entire
Sports
year,
USA Network.
If we make Royals ZOUs and you haven't paid off the lunch that you owe for Royals ZOUs, I feel like there has to be an additional punishment.
Okay.
Just like
okay.
An interest rate. We're closing in on a year.
Well, if you want to be a bleeping D about it, yeah. Then,
I do.
Then yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
It's one of my favorite ways to be.
Between Travis Kelce never talking to the local media and his podcast dropping F-bombs in every sentence, it is hard for us to find a soundbite of the greatest tight end who's ever lived to just put in our coverage of our 32 Chiefs specials we're doing this postseason. Well, all we want is a Travis Kelce soundbite.
The problem is he doesn't understand that he's a superhero.
He is a superhero.
And he can't be a superhero and an articulate gentleman.
That's crazy, dude. We had 5 New Heights clips today that we played.
Yeah, you do rules on the radio.
I mean, we bleep them and stuff.
Radio rules, man.
It does rule.
You can edit audio. Did you know that? You can't edit audio?
Yeah, but the video actually seeing the
B-roll.
Oh,
Throw
yeah.
some B-roll behind
I know
it.
how that works. Yeah.
Yes, that's typically what you guys would
Put
do,
a 41 logo over his lips.
So at our place,
41
right? We're not even allowed to use the bars and tone,
Yeah.
because that's a violation, I
Not
guess.
until like 2 a.m.
Right, or we can use it if there's a tornado going on in the area at that time.
That'd be a great time to use it.
But then also, just not to. We don't even want to call attention to that we're dropping the audio there. So we're straight and narrow. That's how we live over there.
Is that why you don't like it when I say damn?
I hate it when you say damn or hell or crap or.
Okay, now I know.
Ass. I hate ass. Hate ass.
So you read the Karen email to Mike Freeman?
I did.
Yeah, that's so good. We read it earlier.
Dylan,
in the show, man.
If
didn't think I had to tell you.
If I put out the emails that we got,
yes, you should.
No,
you should send them to me, and then I'll say I got this anonymous email.
Mackenzie got one the other day about Taylor Swift. We were laughing about. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta send me that one. It doesn't have to be for public.
I've known too many radio guys. Everything's content. I ain't sending you that.
Everything's content.
Here's what Mick Schaefer said to me that Mackenzie Nelson got. This is from the person who said it. Yeah.
I will grant you off the record. Okay? If you say off the record, I'll grant you off the record. Now, if you send it to me and I do not agree to the off the record, that's a you problem.
That's a me problem.
It's like the
it takesy backsies. That's what I have. I took it back.
Takesy backsies. No anaquincies. All right. Who was
you triple stamped my double stamp?
Who was the coach at Baylor?
Football, basketball.
That
Scott Drew.
No, had all this before. Scott Drew.
The murder there
right.
he was old OU
Bliss.
coach
Dave
Bliss. Yeah.
When they had the documentary on Dave Bliss, and he in the middle of talking, he goes, "All right, off the record here," and he keeps talking.
Oh.
Which they included in the documentary.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't granted. He just said off the record and then started talking.
Yeah.
Wow. And so they included in the documentary like. Dude, we didn't agree to it being off the record. You just said off the record. You started talking, you jackass.
You got to accept the bet, right? I mean, there's got to be. You got to have a dance partner. There's got to be a
$10
dance partner.
Make the shot.
$10 says this happened. Boom, owe me $10.
Yeah, no,
I didn't. My son tries to do that. Bet you $5 this happened. See, told you, $5.
Good for him saying 5. My kids always said $1 million. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take that bet. $1 million, which I'll probably end up paying you in your lifetime.
My son thinks that if you just bet on it, you're going to win.
No.
Whoa! And I'm like,
that was the case.
I was like, but buddy, so if you don't win, then you lose that money. Yeah. If you do that money is no longer what? Yeah. That's how it works, man. That's what a bet is. Sorry to burst your bubble. Andy Reid on the Let's Go podcast, talking with Jim Gray and Tom Brady. They asked him, and this includes him talking about the moment right now, but then also they get into the Taylor Swift phenomenon that's going on. But they start off in this conversation asking Andy Reid, can you enjoy this? Is it all business? Do you take time to sort of, appreciate what's going on? Is there joy in this moment for you? And here's Andy Reid answering that and getting into the Taylor Swift stuff.
Yeah, the joy comes afterwards. Once it's all over, it lasts a little bit. But while you're in it, and you want to exhaust every means possible to make it right. So it's single elimination, and you're at the last game. So it's really single elimination. So you got to make sure that you take care of business and, cross every T, dot every I, that whole deal. So that's what we're doing. I mean, we jumped in on it last night and right into today. So it's making sure that we get things organized and ready to go.
What's it like to be the Beatles? I mean, I don't think you probably ever anticipated that you would have the reaction you have, but now you have Taylor Swift, and all that she brings with all of the Swifties and all of these young ladies and girls and fans of hers. And so now you're getting off a bus, and not like just the Chiefs getting off the bus. It's a whole different deal. What's that been like for you, Coach?
Yeah, listen, she's been great. I knew her before from Philadelphia. Her dad played at Delaware and was a big football fan and good guy. So I had met him there and her. And so that was the last thing Trav wanted to hear, that I knew her before him. She told him, I know your coach. And he went, oh, God, come on. But no, listen, she's a good girl, and I'm happy for Trav, and there has been no distraction that way at all. And Trav's handled it right. She's handled it right. And we just move forward. So it hasn't been a problem at all.
You know what somebody would say if it's been a distraction and a problem? It hasn't been a problem, it hasn't been a distraction. That's what somebody that's clearly been distracted by the whole thing. That's what I take away from that is, sounds like somebody that's been distracted and had a problem. That's what you would say. It's weird that he says it hasn't been a distraction, hasn't been a problem at all. I'm just happy for their relationship, because I thought that was the reason why they were struggling this year. So I guess it's maybe not. Did she distract him all the way to the Super Bowl? And
listen, it was it was a good excuse, one you could make until a couple games ago, especially this past game. So he brought up the Beatles. I'm like, no, that's a bad example, because hopefully she's not Yoko Ono, right?
She's also not four people. I mean, come on.
She's not four people.
Well, I think what he's saying is
she can sing better than the Beatles.
I think she's not overrated. I think what he's saying is that she's. I'm just joking, by the way.
She actually sold records.
Just joking. I know it's a fun debate. I like LeBron over Jordan. So
Curtis is about to bust through here like the Kool-Aid man.
K-Dog. K-Dog, it's fine. I think what he's talking about is Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Taylor.
Those four?
Yeah.
Those are the Beatles.
Does Jim Gray know where buses park now?
Who's Ringo, though?
The buses park in, like, double-gated parking lots and then down a tunnel. There's not adoring fans out there looking for autographs. This isn't the 1960s,
they're not shaking
right?
the bus while they're showing.
They're not pulling up to the Westin right there where everybody else on vacation is getting out. Come on. Come on, Jim.
Come on, Jim. Come on, James. Get it together, James. What do you say, man?
Is that Noah's dad?
I think Tyreek Hill is John Lennon.
It is.
Because he left early. And then I think that makes... I think one of the running backs has to be Ringo.
All right. But we just named the four people being Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Swift.
Yeah, I'm doing a better one. And then I think
Mahomes is going to be Paul McCartney. He had the longest career.
The longest run. I think that's right. I think that's right.
Okay. No, that's it's good to know.
Maybe Kelsey is George Harrison, right? Wanted out of the spotlight more than the others.
Well, if they're the Beatles, they are oddly hated to be the Beatles. Did you see this?
I bet the Beatles were hated once they got on top. People get to it happens in all.
Do you think on Twitter,
areas of life?
Were the Beatles hated on Twitter, though?
Nobody hated them at all on Twitter. Great point.
Yeah. The Chiefs are officially the new villains of the NFL.
Yeah. It's what you want to be.
So X data in the last 90 days tracking negative sentiment tweets directed at each team. So if you see tweets like, I hate the Cowboys, screw the Cowboys, bleep the Cowboys, et cetera. These are the examples that were used. Over 120,000 tweets were tracked. The number one team based on negative tweets, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
1,100 tweets that were negative towards the Chiefs. Cowboys come in at second place with 9,000. Then the Eagles at 8,000. Ravens at 6,000.
Cowboys are dropping. They're not the hated team. You don't want to mess up their hair now.
It's America's team. Chiefs are America's team, man. Then it goes to, how about the Patriots, man? Patriots.
They're back to being underdogs.
5,600. They're behind the Ravens.
Patriots.
Yes. The Giants,
and I think that's draft their quarterback of the future.
The Giants,
this year.
but that's from their own fans.
Yes. Everybody else is just fine with the Giants, except for the Giants.
Giants and Jets come in next after the Patriots. It's Chiefs, Cowboys, Eagles, Ravens, Patriots, Giants, Jets. Giants and Jets, definitely their own fan base is doing the heavy lifting there. And then Packers, Steelers, 49ers.
Who's 32nd? Like the Cardinals, maybe? Like just they don't even have fans. Jaguars.
Jags.
Yeah. Is good.
Jags are dead last.
It's not. The baby seal's been clubbed to death. There's no reason.
Working from the bottom up. Out of 120,000 tweets, the Jags got 900 of
negative
tweets.
Oh my God.
Those all might be from their own team though, or from their own fans. Let's see. Jags is from least to.
They're all from Urban Meyer actually. They get checked his account.
900 tweets. Jags, Colts, Bucks, Commanders, Cardinals, Seahawks, Bengals. It's a surprise.
Yeah.
Most of those are from Kansas City, I would guess. The 2,000 for the Bengals.
I think the rest of the AFC North is kind of tired of the Bengals.
That's true.
Too.
Texans, Lions. Lions have been a fun team, right?
Fun.
Falcons, Saints, Panthers, Broncos, Titans, Chargers, Browns, Rams.
Those were all
shockingly
NFL
high
teams.
for the Chargers. I thought you just forgotten that they existed, maybe, and that they were much lower than that. That's crazy.
So it's basically a list of the best teams down to the worst, kind of.
Pretty much, yes.
Do you think? Serious question here. Do you think that sentiment and that hatred for the Chiefs carries over into betting lines? In that, okay. Chiefs are, to me, surprisingly, is it 1.5 now? It's moved a little bit. Now 2.
Back up to 2.
It's back up to 2 to where, like, Vegas isn't just setting lines for how they think the game will go. They're setting lines for money on each side to where, like, that negative sentiment maybe detracts gamblers from betting on the Chiefs.
Voting on your money. So
Does that? I mean, is there less money going to the Chiefs the more they win? I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't know, but I'll say that Vegas really loved the Chiefs winning because the public and the sharps were on the Ravens.
And this is going to be
Minus
the
points.
5th time in their last 6 games they've been underdogs in the playoffs.
Yeah, 10,
and they've won them all. By the way,
10-1-1 as an underdog in his game in his career against the spread.
You got to at least be doing
Patrick
cover.
Mahomes.
Chiefs cover.
He's 9-3 straight up, and 10-1-1 as an underdog in his career. So keep on with the underdogs, man.
It's amazing. He's still got a great record when down by 10 points, but it kind of came back to the mean this year because there were 3 or 4 games where they were down 10 points and they still lost. But it's still like above 5 games above 500 when he's down 10 points, and then when he's underdog, he just dominates even more almost.
Yep. We want to hear sad fans?
You know that we have sad fans.
So I heard it's not from Beards.
It's not from Beards. It is from a longtime listener of Almost Entirely Sports and now The Zone, Iced Pyro.
Oh, did you say the longtime listener of?
It's like with the Chargers fans. It's like we found one, but listen, man, it doesn't.
Chose violence today. Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's okay.
His show, not this one.
It's a whole bunch of people listening who still do not remember if Nick Schaefer likes
Michelle Brisco
seafood or not. I'll ask Mick about shrimp here in the while we're playing sad fans. But yes, Ice Pyro on Twitter.
Nice. I love this. It's not 20 minutes like Beards.
This one is 5.
A little bit too long, but okay.
He had one last
week. 5.
So the one last week was great.
I missed that one.
It was 9, and I did a little radio edit. It was quality, but I know that these spaces are tighter here in the daytime.
Gotta edit. You gotta cut down.
12 minutes.
You gotta find your 2 or 3 best things and be prepared to get rid of them. Okay,
yeah, well,
that's editing.
If this show only had its 2 or 3 best things, it would just be me, Jason, and Dylan. So sometimes it's okay to add in a 4th.
If you've got to find your 2 or 3 best things and be ready to get rid of them, guys, run out of time. Sports are not going to be able to go tonight.
Right.
But that's why I watched the sports. Sorry, we're going to cut you because somebody else got cut. Yeah. So we're going to have to go with that. By the way, Seahawks are hiring Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald as head coach. There you go. The Commanders still open as Ben Johnson turned that job down, which apparently some of the reports are teams balked at his asking price.
Bobby Slowick also stayed in Houston. Sounds like both of those guys got contract extensions to stay OCs.
Too many Ben Johnsons. That's a name, by the way. That's a lot of Ben Johnsons out there.
Ben Johnson?
There's Ban Johnson, that's baseball. There's Ben Johnson, who got banned from running and track.
He was very fast.
Steroids. Famous actor Ben Johnson. I believe there's an old tight end Ben Johnson as well in the NFL. So carry on.
It's probably just some random people around town named Ben Johnson, I would guess.
I bet at least 4 to 12 of them.
Yeah, and they're listening right now.
Yep.
So Iced Pyro, he had the sad fans last week. Is this just Ravens? Is this going to be a mixture like it was last week?
That's his radio voice. Is it good? I'm about to find out, I guess.
I like it.
The performance continues to be excellent. He's 2 for 2, and it starts.
He's got his own equipment that he's the microphone and everything.
I haven't grilled him. I mostly just kind of listened to
his
him.
phone,
and
maybe?
I'll let you kind of judge for yourself, I guess. But it'll be better than most of the audio on the Pat McAfee show. I can give you that. It starts with the Ravens, but there once again are more featured players in this edition of Sad Fans on Reddit via Iced Pyro, Baltimore Ravens AFC Championship Game Edition.
And now, a list of things that Baltimore Ravens fans said on Reddit. Why do I watch sports? Todd, what's a run? Monken. NFL gets their Taylor Swift bowl. Why do I watch this team? Choked. Again. I'm sick of this. I'm so tired of Mahomes and Kelsey, man. Kelsey is such a fucking doofus. Tony Romo.
We can't do that on
Such high-level quarterback play. Mahomes throws a 3-yard pass. Kelsey's a bitch. I genuinely want to die. Our running backs had 6 carries total. All f***ing game. Am I f***ing taking crazy pills here? What the f***, man? This is all because I wore my Ravens shirt in an LA grocery store and some random guy shouted out to me that we were going to win. It's his fault.
It's true.
All year, we lost games because we hurt ourselves, and it came back to happen yet again. Chiefs didn't win this game. We lost it. Why didn't they cut to Zay's girlfriend right after the TD? And now, the winner of things Baltimore Ravens fans said on Reddit. Never want to hear the words locked in ever again. And now, a list of things Denver Broncos fans said on Reddit. Suddenly, the Brady era wasn't so bad anymore. Lamar out there playing like a Broncos QB just gives me more of a reason to hate the Ravens. They can't even win when I'm rooting for them. Really hard to enjoy football as a Broncos fan these days. I'd take 20 more years of the Brady-Belichick dynasty if it meant sending the Chiefs back to football purgatory. The fucking rage that fills me right now. And now, the winner of things that Denver Broncos fans said on Reddit. At least Kansas Swiftie doesn't have a chance to win a title on our home turf. The Raiders. And now for the only thing I could find that LA Chargers fans said on Reddit. It's crazy how Brandon Staley and Telesco got rid of Kyle Van Noy and Drew Tranquil for even worse guys. And now for a list of things that Las Vegas Raiders fans said on Reddit. Makes no difference if we can't push them in a division or challenge them in the playoffs. We're under their boot like everyone else. The entire league saw how we broke the Chiefs, and they just ignored it, LOL. They cowboyed themselves to a loss. Haven't said a word in like 20 minutes, I'd be so upset. Just has been a sad game to be an avid Chief hater. The Chiefs, who have been all year, now just makes a Super Bowl, but I'm supposed to believe this isn't rigged? Okay, cool. The Chiefs just sleepwalked their way through the season and weren't even trying until the playoffs. And now, for the winner of things that Las Vegas Raiders fans said on Reddit. I never would have imagined I'd see the day where I could watch other teams and wish their defense would step up like ours. And now, a list of things that general football fans said on the NFL subreddit. The instant Brady to Mahomes transition of power is turning the entire AFC into the Joker. You guys are so funny, talking about Lamar Jackson this, Patrick Mahomes that. It's so clear you're all jealous you don't have Bryce Young. Playoff Mahomes and playoff Lamar both showed up. Both the Raven. Please just score. The Chiefs' second half plan was to do nothing and watch the Ravens implode. Why didn't Lamar stunt on these hoes? I specifically requested it. And now, the winner of things said on the NFL subreddit. Comment. Mahomes really is going to lead the next evil empire, huh? And everyone, myself included, thought this was a down year for him. Reply. This is a down year.
Nice job. Well done. Well done.
Like the whisper there at the end.
To have it back. This is
a down year.
2 years ago, they were rebuilding. Or last year, they were rebuilding. This year was a down year. They're going to be good one day. Just wait. You just wait. You wait. They are going to be good one day.
He did say that, and I think it comes through, that the tenor has even shifted from last week, where the rage is just bubbling, and the dejection in the eyes of every NFL fan in 31 other cities is so funny.
It's great. I love it. I love it. Love being the villain. It's great. It's awesome. The Chiefs wore black on Sunday, as Travis Kelce said that Chris Jones said, wear black. Wear black. We're going into the bank like Chiefsaholic. And they did. And they walked out of there with a trophy.
They could wear all black again.
It's named after them, too.
Yeah.
Trophy's even named after their owner.
Mahomes. Oh. I thought you were saying Mahomes and Travis Bank, M&T Bank.
That, too, but then also the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
Well, I saw before the game, it's like, oh, it's named the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But,
narrowly avoided that.
Lamar is still hunting for one. Sorry about that.
Hey!
Keep trying. Playoff Lamar and playoff Mahomes showed up.
Both showed up.
They both showed up. That's great. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone right after this. You know, man, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's time of deciding to make positive change. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director, hanging out with us here in the zone. I just want to hear it again. I want to play it again. I want to play Travis Kelce talking about the pregame interaction with Justin Tucker. Sorry. I mean, I wanted to see a blue duck, so I colored the duck blue. I want to hear Justin Tucker's, I want to hear the Travis Kelce side of Justin Tucker, the New Heights podcast this morning.
Mick, if you need to cover your ears, there are some bleeps in this one.
Yeah, bleeps.
I've heard this one, so yeah, I'll just walk out of the room.
Clutch your pearls.
Please, if you could, signed every parent.
I don't remember signing that, by the way.
I didn't agree to that, but I'm glad somebody's finally speaking up for the every parent. Here's Travis Kelce on the New Heights podcast this morning talking about the interaction before the game with one Justin Tucker.
So we're warming up, and we do our same warm-up every single time on our side of the field. For those of you that don't know what happens in pre-games, the Ravens have their side of the field, and the Chiefs have our side of the field. Now, specialists, because of like the win factor and
they go to
where
both
you
sides.
are, they get a chance to kick at both field goals and kind of punt from both sides of the field. But it's always, if you're trying to go onto the other team's designated area, you kind of stay out of their way. You know, you don't interfere with what they have going on.
That is the unwritten rule.
That's the unwritten rule. If you want to be a fucking dick about it, you keep your helmet and your football and your fucking kicking tee right where the quarterbacks are warming up and they're dropping. Eyes are looking left and they got a helmet down by their feet.
It's actually kind of dangerous, really. But
like, if you're not going to pick that up, I'll happily move that for you. Justin came out and he said it was more of a joking gesture and kind of a fun competitive. And I get it. I mean, he was kind of winking at me, like being a dick about it, like trying to get under the skin.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
I get it, but
you got under your skin a little bit.
Me and Pat, we've been having the same mentality for this game all week long, man.
Yeah.
And it was you got to go in there and have the right mind frame, have the right mindset, and we just weren't in a joking mood. We were ready to get after it. And so, Justin, sorry if we took it to a level that you didn't think it'd get to that way, but if you're going to be a dick, I promise you, I can one-up you every time, dude.
That's a great line.
I can one-up you every time you're going to be a D. And I believe him. I do believe Travis Kelce that he can one-up Justin Tucker if he wants to be a D about stuff.
And to be fair, the media, we're the ones that I guess we accidentally saw it, right?
James Palmer.
James Palmer was right there. A couple other people. If we don't, it doesn't get amplified and blown up. And it's not like the Chiefs were complaining about Tucker out loud, right? And Tucker was complaining about the Chiefs. It's just kind of something that happened. And, one guy was trolling. The other guys weren't having it. And, that's and I've seen pictures now, and Mahomes is now on the record saying, that's happened 3 times in my career.
Yeah.
All 3 times I've gone to Baltimore.
Just with Justin Tucker.
Just with him.
And they're now on the record as well, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes on the Pat McAfee show. They said that they were ready to pick up a 15-yard penalty if Justin Tucker would have missed that field goal when they were down 10 and Justin Tucker lined up for the 40-something-yard field goal, that they said we were going to be picking up a 15-yard penalty.
In what way?
Running on the field, running by Justin Tucker, whatever way you can think of because, once he misses the field goal, it's now a mutually shared field. The offense can come out there because they're getting ready to go and play. So they are coming onto the field anyway. It's just a matter of, I'm imagining how Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes would have been sprinting on the field, maybe in the general area of Justin Tucker.
And it is a mutually shared field. There's no written rules about where people have to be. But it's like, I'm not going to, basketball, you're not going to go join the other team's layup line, right? You're not going to shoot 3-pointers while they're running 3-on-2, 2-on-1, right?
The guy shooting free throws.
There's no run really. You can't do that. But if you want to be a D about it, I guess you can.
Just a guy shooting free throws while the other team is at a layup line is like, no, I'm good. I just want to get used to both sides. I couldn't shoot a free throw down there because our guys are warming up. So what do you want me to do?
I love what you guys were talking about earlier. Is it Moody? Is he the kicker for the 49ers? And I want him to not just his footballs and his helmet and his tee, but carry stuff from the garage out there.
Yes.
He's got a garden hose. He sits down there. He's got a rake. He's got a potted plant that he sits down. That would actually break the focus of Mahomes and Kelce because they would die laughing.
Why do you have a drill? Is that a car jack?
A little lacrosse.
Is that a batting tee? You've got
hydraulic jack out here. Why do
you have a mini fridge right next where we're warming up?
Why do you have a frisbee? This is not. Is there a frisbee dog out here?
That would just
somewhere?
be so funny.
Oh my God, he's got to do that.
But it's this Super Bowl, and I mean everybody's
going to
be
lose
like
anyway.
Yeah.
Like at least have some fun before you lose, right?
Or maybe he just posts a video about here's my routine, and he's at the goal line. That would be funny. And he's got stand-ins wearing like Chiefs red jersey. This is what I usually do before every game, and that would be funny.
He will be in a position to be asked about it because this is the only week of the NFL season where every single player is available one day of the week.
Oh yeah.
It's like Monday during the big media night, someone could go to him and be like, "All right, man, here's what Justin Tucker did last week."
I think they're all available at the hotel too. They're just sitting. You've got the main guys, you got the second tier guys, and you have the ancillary guys in another room just sitting at tables, and you can go talk to them.
I think there were 2 times last year, or maybe once, at least once last year, that Butker was on the podium, so he wasn't available at like the just the regular players, the regular NFL players, that were out
scrubs,
there,
right? They were all Americans in the SEC.
The guys who have always been the best player on every team they played on.
Yes.
Just those regular
guys that are like the greatest athletes ever attended their high school, legends in their hometowns. Those scrubs.
Those guys are sitting at a table waiting for the really cool people that are the upper echelon of our profession.
We talked to was it Greg Ward last year? He was an inactive for the Eagles, but he was like Mahomes' rival in high school. They were rival quarterbacks in East Texas. Another guy to talk to that unfortunately might be an inactive for the 49ers is Ronnie Bell. Park Hill kid who won the Simone Award. Yeah. And he had a good freshman season, good rookie year, played in every game, but I think has been inactive the whole, both games.
Both games he's been inactive. Yeah, because I was looking at him like, I went through all the wide receivers drafted. I'm like, there are only 2 rookie wide receivers playing still. It's Ronnie, which there's only 2 teams, right?
Yeah.
But Ronnie Bell and Rashee Rice.
Being those 2 guys is kind of a
it's
fun
great because there's such the local connection. Obviously Rashee Rice and obviously Ronnie Bell.
And Ronnie Bell's little brother won a national championship at Michigan this year.
That's right. Was he on the sideline at Baltimore?
At the game?
With Jim Harbaugh, was he there?
I don't
think so. I don't think he was. I'm not sure.
He was, I think, a backup receiver that didn't play. I don't know if he brought him.
I don't think I would stay there if I was him. Like Sharon Moore,
maybe come back to your home state.
Those things always work when you're like, oh, this guy coached the interim emotional game and he cried and everything. And, this 35-year-old seems to really be a go-getter and taking over the Michigan job. And the players love him. So I think we're just going to hand the reins over to him and not do a national search for the best possible coach we can go and get that maybe has made a playoff or something, maybe like a Brian Kelly or something. That's
what Bama did, right? They
just went and hired from within.
They took Saban's
here's this GA that we think can be pretty good. We'll just hire him. That's awesome.
I'm just fine with Michigan football going down the tubes.
I'm not, they won a national title. That's
good.
And also, in fairness, he had to lead that program through a very tumultuous time of Harbaugh, I think, dying, if memory serves. Yeah. So I mean that's a big deal.
He was resurrected eventually.
Yeah,
it's.
And
Michigan
all
everybody.
that spying adversity that they created themselves too. That was tough.
Harbaugh died and then was resurrected, and now he's in football purgatory. So
he's with the Chargers. He somehow wants to be.
He's a hell of a coach. If he wins there, then he's an elite coach.
I didn't want him to go to the Chargers for a reason because I think he's a damn fine coach. I don't want him to be there.
It's gonna be great for the Chiefs AFC West preseason odds, though. I think you got to play chess, not checkers here.
Mm-hmm. Hey, do you think Andy Reid is ribbing, needling the Raiders here? He was on the Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray, and hey, look at that, look at there, you can't get away, just
should be at work
from Bethany.
Hey,
should be at work.
Shouldn't you be at work? Tell her to go to work. Mick Schaefer says go to work. All right.
You guys want to bring in the radio audience on this bit?
Oh, what? Sorry. Oh, there's people listening on the radio. Mick?
She's actually her day off. Mackenzie Nelson is here to, I guess, record with Bethany. And Mackenzie and Aaron, by the way, are going to Las Vegas with Caitlin Canute, Taylor Himness, a couple of photographers. We're sending a crew of
If there's a story,
6.
Mackenzie's going to find it.
That's what, better. She better.
Because if not, then, you can just hang out here with Bethany more often because if don't come back. Really?
I am.
Don't come back.
I
Vegas.
was.
Really? Awesome.
I mean, I was totally fine not going. In fact, I was like, maybe I should miss, which totally you two
fine.
maybe understand, but nobody else in my world understands
fine.
that. But then I was like, wait a second.
Like, oh, thank God, no.
It's a 2 hour. I thought it was a 1 hour time difference. I thought it was Mountain
2
Times,
Two,
and I would be getting done at 8:30. And then I was like, wait, if I send my 2 other sports people, that means I'm the only one here, and I have to work every day. Oh, gosh. And I have to go home to my family.
Oh, God.
Didn't think that one through.
You should rethink this. I'd rather get tased than go home to your family. My family, I love going home to my family.
Can I go home to your family one of these nights? Is that cool?
No, you can't.
There is a whole TV show about this. If you guys want,
Wife
PBS
swap?
or something, yeah.
Job swap. Yes,
Life swap.
It's the whole thing. You got to go to the job, and then you actually have to go.
Who would be better and worse at the other person's? Not just job, but life. That's the question. If we're going through life swap.
Well, I don't drink.
I don't
so
cook.
I don't know that I could do. There you go. It's a rough. How are we supposed to get through life with this? See if you think that Andy Reid is needling the Raiders here as he talks about the Super Bowl being in Vegas.
How happy are you that the Super Bowl's in Vegas where you don't have to worry about your mustache freezing?
I'll tell you.
But good things seem to happen when the mustache freezes. So I don't know how you feeling about this.
Yeah. So listen. That was a cold day. First of all, that was maybe the coldest one I've been in. But the Super Bowl being in Vegas is going to be spectacular. I mean, they have a great facility out there, and you might as well use it, right, as they say. So it's going to be put to use, and then we actually are the home team, so we get to use the Raiders facility, and that's beautiful. And so we look forward to that part, and just keep guys away from the strip, right? That's what you want to do.
I don't think he's intentionally doing it, but it sounded like that.
I mean, they got a beautiful facility. Might as well use it.
That's what they say.
Because they ain't using it. And then we got the.
I think that was more like,
team.
hey, we might as well have a Super Bowl there. It's a great facility.
Might as well use it because it's not being used anytime in January.
If he would have been like, and I know
I don't think it was intentional, but man, it sounded like it. It's a good burn if it was.
It's such a great burn, man. And then we're using their facilities, and it's beautiful. And when I first heard it, I thought he was saying, we're using their facilities. That's beautiful. Yeah. Instead of, we're using their facilities. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful facilities.
And something I forgot about last night until I was talking with Mike Nico, our chief Met, who came from the Bay Area. He was like, Chiefs fans hate the Raiders, but I don't know if, they hate them more than the 49ers. I'm like, these are the two teams that hate the Raiders the most are going to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And the Chargers are up there, Broncos too, but they shared, for a couple periods of time, they shared a Bay Area together.
Yeah, I guess
a couple Oakland trips for the Raiders.
Right across
there.
Just go across
they
that
used to
bridge,
play it. They haven't always been in Vegas?
No, they believe it or not, they had a baseball field. There was dirt. Wow. Josh, that they played on some of the time.
I said, I tweeted out that it's like an Airbnb, the Chiefs making themselves at home in the Raiders' living room while they're on vacation in Cancun. And my brother replied and said, no, it's a VRBO, Vegas Raiders being owned. Okay. That's true. That's exactly right. They get to use their facilities. So it's great. They're the home team. They get all of the beautiful. They don't have the whatever locker room is set up for the visitors or whatever. Yeah. They get the beautiful locker room. They get the beautiful practice facility.
Do you know? Are the Niners going to be at like UNLV or something?
UNLV.
They're at UNLV.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where were the Chiefs last year? Because it was in Phoenix, but they weren't.
Tempe.
They were in Tempe.
So they were Arizona State played.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
right.
And so those practices,
I didn't have to make my way over there because I
no
was
video
just on
is
Radio
allowed
Row.
in. No cameras are allowed in. You have one pool reporter each day that'll go in there and then ask a couple questions to Andy afterward and maybe one to Patrick. And then they'll write up, about a minute's worth of copy for broadcast. They'll do a story. But, there's no even like shooting stretching for those things. You're not even allowed on the ground.
I made put a bag over Teicher's head, walk him in there, strap him to a chair, and let him listen. That's it.
I don't know where the Raiders facility is. It's probably not adjacent to Allegiant, or is it? I've been there. I don't remember seeing like another big building around there.
I hope it's not in Reno because that would not be.
That'd be a long way away.
It wouldn't be advantageous for the Chiefs to do that anymore.
The hotel's about 25 minutes outside of town. It's like oh gosh, what is it? Weston.
Las
or
Vegas
some lake.
Raiders headquarters in Henderson, Nevada.
Oh, it's in Henderson. So there, yeah, it's not next to it.
Well, I know last year,
It's like a suburb.
I only made it to the Chiefs hotel one day because it was such a from Radio Row to the Chiefs hotel.
Well,
and then
that's
if you want to
the
go
deal.
to the Eagles, and it's like you're driving.
Phoenix
like
is
an
a
hour
big
and a half.
footprint, right?
Yes.
There's nothing there stopping you. You
Right.
spread that city out, and they did with a lot of just where everybody was.
Yeah, that was a good idea for to make sure everybody gets
Vegas.
We're gonna
Well,
put
I mean,
45 minutes up here and an hour that way.
Vegas with like Media Hotel and Allegiant Stadium and NFL Experience. Everything's right on top of each other. It's a small area.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of things on the Strip that are just right on top of everybody because it's going to be shoulder to shoulder. I think people are going to find out when they get to casinos and it's like, oh, there's no table over there. Oh, there's no. I can't get in that game. Oh, there's no.
I mean,
they're probably prepared.
Tell me this though. Do you think how many people travel to a Super Bowl? Right, you're going to fit 70,000 in there, 80 or whatever. I don't know what it
a lot of
holds.
them might be corporate,
and there's
though.
going to be more people than that. But I'm wondering, like, are there more people that traveled for the Vegas draft, which was a few 100,000, than the Super Bowl? And this is a town where you have probably 100,000 people every weekend traveling in for whatever purpose. I wonder if they're
Sarim would know better how equipped it would be.
He
If
would,
it's going to be a bleep show or if it's going to be like you're not going to
Here's
get
the
a
deal.
table,
You
you're
can
not
save
gonna play
money
cards.
on renting a car. Don't do it. Just Uber everywhere because there's no parking. You'll be able to. It's just not worth it. Just Uber.
I would not do that. I'm saving money by just staying here. So that's
Same.
what I am going to do. But I'll be in New Orleans next year. Hopefully the Chiefs are with me.
Yeah, I always get mad at our I don't know who comes up with our creative team, just kind of tongue in cheek. It's always road to Phoenix, it's always road to Tampa, it was road to Vegas this year. And I'm like, gosh dang it, we got to have something more creative. And they're like, what do you have? I'm like, I have nothing. But then last night I thought our shows could have been called All In on Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And so I decided, I told them I'm looking at all the future Super Bowl sites and I'm coming up with names for the shows because the Chiefs will be there, right? And I'm going to turn them in.
So this is my Mick Schaefer moment when whatever it was that you were like, oh, this whole time I didn't realize that was the case.
Big Yeti.
Yeah, that. But there was something else that was like, really, this is
a lot of
obvious.
things. Yeah.
This is my moment. I just realized the shirts being Chiefs
all
are all in is because of Vegas. I just
yeah.
I haven't seen those shirts.
The shirts, the championship shirts they wore on stage, both 49ers and the Chiefs are all in.
Well, it makes you feel better. I realized that the neon effect was probably a Vegas thing, but all in didn't click with me either.
I thought maybe when the Chiefs were like, was their motto this year all in? Because I thought it was swag.
It's my only bet in poker is all in. Nothing.
I don't know anything else.
Yeah. Fold or push.
Who do I call? Do I get a lifeline? Check what?
I play my best poker when I put my chips in. I can't make any more moves. Just leave it up to God and poker and chance.
God in the cards.
Yeah, the cards.
God in the cards. Am I bluffing? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I
haven't looked.
I actually don't know if I'm bluffing or not. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We're not bluffing. We'll have one more segment next.